Hello, hello. All right. Hi. Sorry for that prolonged delay of getting started here. My name is Nick, aka Gocnak. I'm the project and development lead of MoD, here to answer some of your beautiful questions you asked us over in our Discord, !Discord, if you haven't joined. I'm joined by some of my lovely team members. We can just go down the Discord list and you guys can introduce yourselves and we'll get going.
Hey, what up? I'm Tom. I am the web dev lead and UI stuff and computers, all that.
Nice.
Well, hi. My name is Alex, but I go by Happy. I'm one of the composers for Get the Game. I'm lead localization lead for our beautiful game. I do stuff basically, everything I can.
Oh yes, all things localization. If you're helping out with localization, make sure you DM or at least link your account in the PO editor account link channel and let Happy know. They'll get you a key if you help out translating into your native tongue. But yeah, it's awesome to see the amount of work that's been going on there too.
Hi, I'm Lumia. I'm a developer. I work on the game and defrag.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of defrag stuff in this recent release. Yeah,
it's not all me, but yeah.
True, very true. But it's a lot of great stuff. I mean, I guess that leads into our actual, our monthly question that we have to answer. Do you want to talk more about that, Lumia, about your defrag work?
Yeah, I can do that. So this recent update actually brought in a lot of fixes. There's been a lot of long-standing issues that have been reported, and right now I'm kind of just trying to clean up a lot of the smaller ones and also finish up on the weapons implementation. Just generally trying to get the game mode mostly tidied up and as finished as possible with what we have right now, so that way we can, or at least I can, kind of move on to other stuff as we're gearing up for our next big update. Not that defrag has to be finished before then, but it would be nice. So we're getting closer to being feature complete, I think, and hopefully it'll just be bug fixing from then on out. There's already been some people who have reported bugs with this last update already. Shout out to Snow, thanks. But yeah, that's what I've been working on, mostly defrag stuff, and then also a little bit of moving towards working on the new timers for O10.0, the new timer rules.
Yeah. I can take over for that part. So that's what the majority of the development efforts going towards right now is O10.0. We talked about this in the last month. We've been redoing how our zones and timer are currently functioning because the game's scope expanded. So we have to be able to kind of account for all of the new game modes that we want to add in the future, but also that we now have just in the game. So we've had a lot of discussions back and forth, just kind of outlining what we currently have, what's not working with what we currently have, and then designing a much better system that's way more flexible. We're going to be able to support significantly more things just in the zone format itself, right? And that's super huge for being able to just get kind of this cohesive experience for all of these game modes that we want to have for Momentum. So O10.0, when we say O10.0, that's like our next kind of feature milestone. That's going to be the new and improved zone format with the zone tooling. So really it's going to be opening up the gates and the website work, which Tom, you'll get to talk about a bit too in a bit. Oh. But it's tying all of this together and creating just basically the future for how we want to do map submission and just like map support, right? And there's a lot of work going into things like BSP convert and our tool lumper that also like go into this O10.0 like feature update. There's some more work that we can't really talk about yet as well that's coming down the pipeline that we're pretty excited to reveal as well for O10.0, but it is, map related, so just keep an eye out for that. Join our Discord if you haven't. We might start teasing it as we get closer to the release there. But it's been going really well, and the entire team, I'm really proud of the dev team because it's everybody kind of contributing their past experience, what they think our format should be, what we should try to do, some, and as we start to implement it, we can start to see like how we could even improve it further, right? So it's been a lot of just kind of sitting around and figuring out this best format, like the best path forward. And now that we have it, we're going to start to break up the work that needs to be done into bite-sized chunks and then start, implementing it. And once it gets in place, we'll have our new website, which I'll let Tom talk about in a sec here. And we'll have, it will be a wipe. So unfortunately, everything's going to be wiped with this new website being deployed. But, get used to
remember to wipe.
Yes, always wipe. So that's our deployment policy right now. But we have
deployment policy. If you work in DevOps, don't do that.
But yeah, it's just something to be used to as we approach 1.0, because 1.0 will be our last wipe that we'll do forever. We'll never wipe ever again. No, I'm just kidding. Sorry. But yeah, just be aware that we're still in alpha, we're still getting these formats and figuring out things right as we go along. So we're going to be wiping a couple of times just to get the leaderboards reset, but also make sure that our pipelines that we have in place are good and work really well. So yeah, no, I'm really excited for even the web work that's happening. And I'll let you take over and talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, broadly, like you say, with momentum stuff, like there's a lot of stuff sort of going on in the wings at the moment that, like, this just comes to mind just because we just pushed a changelog that's just defrag. There's a little bit of other stuff, but it's like prime. And that defrag work is really cool, but like a lot of the stuff we're currently doing is either in tooling or web stuff. Or it's just sitting down having really long, exhausting meetings about the O10 spec. Because, like Nick said, like O10 covers just a ton of stuff. Yeah. And it's been really hard, like, just getting that Google Doc like in good shape. And
it's like a couple bullet points, but it's like the things that go into those couple of bullet points is so much, right? Like new zone format, right? It's such a high level, like tip of the iceberg way to view it, because we have to change almost everything about the game.
Right. It's for sure. The format is made like with respect to like all the different modes and how we expect that sort of format to accommodate them, and like all these difficult edge cases and stuff. And usually all of our edge cases and stuff end up sort of winding down into something quite straightforward, and it's not too bad, but it's still a lot of sort of discussing stuff and tricky. Thanks for the raid.
Thank you for the raid. Yeah, welcome everyone.
But yeah, one thing that's really good is this ties in really well with the web backend rewrite, which has been finished for a couple months now, but still not deployed. It won't really be fully deployed until O10. We'll have some temp servers going. We might have some like separate game builds, basically because a lot of the networking or just HTTP API stuff changes game code. Yeah, and it's very, very hard for us to do multiple builds of the game and distribute them over Steam. We might have some like custom binaries that we just put out over Discord for people that are interested, using like the new API. So we'll have some people that want to like actually really playtest can potentially use those, and mess with like the sort of pre-O10 API build. But yeah, so the rewrite's essentially done. There's still a little bit of stuff that's not quite finished, but I mean, at the moment we're sort of also tearing apart some of the parts of the website that don't make any sense. Some of the stuff was just a bit overly complex, like the map library system that we're going to finally get rid of, because so yeah, web sort of rewrite stuff is all finished. All the cleanup of like the main code base, including the front end stuff, is now finished. And yeah, we're actually getting pull requests in, which is great. It's kind of like, I feel like this thing's been on pause. It's like in like The Sims or like Cities Skylines or whatever, where you like go in like pause mode and you make all this shit like in the background of like stuff, and then you press play and like all the people start moving around. Like the GitHub is actually active now. Yeah. Like it's great. That's a weird analogy. I'm watching Nick on webcam on a slight delay and he's just looking more and more confused. But essentially, like, the fact we haven't been working on any front end stuff for a while just because we've had the back end stuff on hold, and like now we've had like 3 people doing really, really good work on front end and last week.
And how many versions of out of date were we? Like we were like 2 versions of Nebular, like 1 version of like TS.
That was, we were on Angular 7 or something. Yeah, we're on Angular 16 now.
Yep.
yeah, all the front end shit was outdated, and just package management, all that stuff was just a mess. Gross.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, everything's doing really well now. Just a lot of the really boring stuff. For you might know from if you do any web dev, a lot of just testing stuff is a lot better now. A lot of these sort of really boring shit that we had to spend a long time on because it's a live API that needs to perform well. Like that's all in a really good spot. So it's taken fucking ages, but it's doing really well now. So I'm super pumped. And what we're going to be doing in the next couple of months is making all these big O10 changes, which are affecting the game code, affecting all the web stuff.
Yep.
It's been really good as a team. We've had like a sort of 8 to 10 sort of people being sort of super active with designing Refactor, just in terms of the specking of it, including loads of programmers. So I feel like it's still quite close knit, and we're going to be really good at working in tandem more, which is something that we've not been doing enough of lately, and I'm really looking forward to doing more.
Yeah.
So yeah, O10 is going to be really fucking cool because it's going to be anyone will be able to submit maps. So there might be some basic like application stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see.
We need to talk about that a bit more, but people that have actually made decent maps or are doing actual porting work will be able to submit maps. We'll have way more maps in game. A lot of the stuff that like these sort of core complex systems that we've had planned out for years, we're actually finally getting fully implemented, and it's really cool. So yeah. I mean, we could go on about O10 for ages because, there's so much to it. It does really cover, like, there's so many decisions we've been making in terms of just ranking, leaderboards, map submission, zoning, like, how physics stuff is going to work and all that. Like, really, it's really cool. But it's been sort of much needed, I think, like, this sort of kind of going back to the drawing board a bit and really heavily specking everything, getting everything really precise, and considering all of these complicated edge cases for all the different modes and stuff. But now that we're mostly there, it feels great.
Yeah, and it's the biggest spec as well because it's it's something that considers every single mode, and then also has like these auxiliary like tooling that we need to do and things like that. Whereas like the rank system is just something that every game mode is just probably going to have.
Ranking
by default.
is also hard, but
and then it is hard, but it's like the system itself, as opposed to like how does defrag like affect the start zone, versus like oh hey, like how should we calculate the best like point distribution so that it makes sense to grind for group times and stuff like that. So it's a lot of a lot of fun, and like I think a lot of the spec that we're doing now just goes forward to like things like the replay refactor that we need to do, just like what data we need to store inside of inside of all of the replays, right? And then that extends all the way over to like our multiplayer and cosmetics system and stuff like that. But like that's just like getting designs for those. So I'm excited. I always get excited when things come together, especially for the game, and just like piecing it all together in the game itself and letting players like use it and have fun with it. So like the game is in a really good state right now, but for Surf Bunny, like for the original modes that it was built for, and then once we start to really get into like the sub modes and the different styles of defrag, for example, and like adding things like beggars and stuff like that, it starts to complicate the system that we already have. So that's why we got to kind of redesign it, but we're factoring all of that in with this new design that we're implementing. So
I wouldn't say it is just new game modes. It is also just like aspects of performance in some of the more technical areas. Like we've been talking a lot about web systems and performance there. Like I think the reality of having like us, given that we have a lot of time thinking about infrastructure currently. Like me and Nick especially, we really like to think about server costs and how
what's the most effective way to host this.
And what gets really interesting is then when you start doing technical design. We don't have enough metrics right now really to actually do this as well as we'd like, but we can still do some. It's really interesting doing these sort of technical designs of systems like the new Redis-based ranking system, which is going to be fucking cool to work on, and all this stuff. Like, I don't know. I feel like we're sort of a lot of this stuff we're just sort of taking more seriously now. Like we're approaching like for stuff like how we do ranking in DB in a way that's not like incredibly inefficient. It's just been this thing that's sort of been lingering over our heads for years. But recently we've been taking the time to think, okay, how the fuck do we actually make this work? And then I think we've all got a lot more experience now as well as developers, and now we can start thinking, okay, we can do Redis and crazy microservice stuff if we want, and all this like. Probably shouldn't do crazy microservice, but the whole I don't know. The sort of general, I think, our attitude to design has really improved in the last couple of months. I think we've been being a lot more sort of ready to sort of really confront hard questions on the projects. If you say waiting for a key every 5 minutes in a chat, I might genuinely drop less keys. We normally allocate 10, but I don't know. Anyway.
No, it's fine. It's okay. If they're too annoying, we might ban you, but that you can still grab the key. It doesn't matter. We don't want key. There we go. Drop.
I will key your car.
Can I say something?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
There was a question: what language needs to be what languages we need to be translated?
Mm-hmm.
We have a PO editor linked in the general localization channel, so go there, see if you can what language you know and translate. Just keep in mind most of the language are done, but translation is future, like it's a future shot.
It's an ongoing task.
We're gonna add more stuff, so just keep an eye out. Definitely will need your help. And also, Gocnak, I don't know if you saw it or not, but you have to play Kong because I sent 10.
Please, actually, okay, fine. We'll play some Kong. We'll play some Kong today. I'm down. It's been a bit. Can't lose my Kong skills. I will show off some of the defrag.
API key.
That's a stream key. Let's go. Yeah. But yeah, the PO editor link is in our Discord. Please join that if you're going to be doing translation work. Reporting things like bad or broken, like text or anything like that is done through our Discord. It's just easier that way until we either get a forums system back up or something. But for now, just use Discord if you're going to be helping out. That's the best way to do it.
Also, if the language is already really heavily translated, just go in, find translations, and just, especially some of the longer strings, like read through them, think about them. If there's improvements or stuff to be made, don't necessarily just make them immediately, but go into Discord, in the channel, in the thread, right, in the localization forum for that language. Maybe ping the person that originally did the translation, if you can tell who the name is through the stuff. And just discuss it with people. That's a really good way to approach it, right? We don't necessarily need you to do a ton of different translations, but just being actively involved with discussing good translations is also something we really, really value. So
yeah, we really want there to make sure, we want everybody to be on the same page when you translate. But okay, well, we'll go ahead and move on to the first asked question here. But yeah. Who's reading them?
Do you want to do a happy?
Oh, my accent is bad. Do you really want to? I mean, I can. It's just
okay. I've been trying to get Bing AI to make a key in a Shakespearean sonnet, and it's been fucking useless at it. Okay, so Pip3, a good package manager overall, asks, is learn mode going to be voiced, and do you eventually plan for it to tie in with the story mode of 2.0, or will you just be expected to know how to play all these modes? I'm not sure that's quite a valid disjunction there, but okay.
Right. No, it's first of all, we never expect anyone to fully be able to understand how to play the mode we want to be able to bring somebody that's only had basic WASD first person platforming experience from first person shooters into the world of movement speedrunning, right? So that's the goal there. The learn mode is not going to be voiced. However, the campaign, we do want to have some voiced characters there. So while the learn mode that's in our, I guess I should also distinguish between the two, because the learn mode that's in the game, that's in its own section, is more disjointed and more individual mechanics of the modes, and it will be presented kind of in a linear fashion of you can just hop to the next mechanic, but they're meant to be kind of repeatable, easy to kind of to grind. You could speedrun it if you want to, but we're not really going to have an official leaderboard for it because they're 2-second long segments of gameplay. So that's what that section's going to aim to be, right? But then the campaign is meant to be kind of this narrative, linear, sort of linear exploration thing that we'll get more details as we start to flesh out more of the campaign post 1.0. But it's yeah, like that's gonna have a voiced, you know, character that might be involved, and that would be like, if you have never played any of the mode whatsoever, starting there would also be pretty like expected. And we might take some of those mechanics that we have in the learn section and put them into the tutorial area, right, of the campaign. But if you know what you're doing, you'll just kind of breeze right through it. We're never really going to hold you back because, you know, we're speedrunning focused. That would be really bad for us to do that. So, but yeah, so hopefully that distinguishes that. The story mode will have a tutorial as well, but it's meant to be kind of just like the basics, and then you learn through playing. And then the learn mode is very explicit. Here's the mechanics of the mode and how to do them. And then also tying in with like the custom maps that might have those mechanics too. So that's really the distinguished, or the you know, the difference between those two there. Was there any input for Pip3's question?
Nope.
You said whether they'd be voiced or not.
I guess
Yes.
the one thing is that, you know, they're gonna be music, so it's
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
help you concentrate and, you know, learn how to play.
Oh yeah, we gotta get some banger learn music, just so that people go into the learn section just to jam out. But yeah, absolutely, there will be voices in the campaign, but not in the learn section. The learn section is just text and music, if we have some learn music by then. But yeah, it's the campaign will also have music and voice, and yeah, it's like more of a kind of, I guess, culmination of everything. But yeah, just distinguishing, right? Like the learn section is meant to kind of be a replayable, yeah, individual mechanics, right? The campaign is meant to be like you start and can start from nothing, right? And gradually learn and play more and more, and you get more and more used to it. So like you might actually quit the campaign to go and do a learn section thing and then come back to the campaign to continue. Like I could see that being a thing, right? The campaign's not going to hold your hand through everything, but it's going to get you there pretty much in a linear fashion that the learn section could, you know, be effectively too. But the difference there is that you don't have to play the campaign to learn, and then you don't have to play the learn section to do the campaign. If that makes sense, like there's like you can still have a bit of like, you know, you get some knowledge of how to play the game through both. So yeah, it's not fleshed out yet. We really only have the learn section right now. We don't really have a campaign or anything yet. We're working on that for 2.0, but yeah, I'm really excited because I think if the campaign turns out to, you know, actually work and get implemented, and we get the, you know, the team rallied behind it, I think it'll be just an amazing experience. So for new players and veterans alike. But yeah. All right. Any other input for Pip3? All right. Thank you for asking that question. We'll move on to the next one.
Next question is, I am in the wrong place on the slides. I apologize. Could you add the syncr thing from Jump Academy from TehBoss?
I think there was some discussion about this. We do want to have more like practice mode tooling, including things like syncr. Ideally, though, you wouldn't have to have these kind of elements. I mean, I'm definitely more in favor of adding visual cue kind of UI elements. I think it's nice to be able to know kind of roughly like where, you know, your element, right, like where the gameplay elements that you're using, so like rockets or stickies or whatever, right? Like having more visual feedback on that kind of thing is helpful, because again, it's not playing the game for you. Even if it does start to trivialize some things, I still think it's worthwhile. I mean, obviously, if it's like making it exactly what you need to do or something like that, maybe we could, you know, not add that. But really, like visual kind of aids or tools like syncr are valuable in my eyes, because it helps not only train you on how to, like, you know, get syncs better, but at the same time, it's also like it lets you focus more on maybe routing or speedrunning side of things, right? So like kind of trivializing some of the harder things visually, right, in the visual sense, is, in my opinion, worthwhile, because then it's like you can still focus on getting really good runs, as long as it's not doing something like for you, if that makes sense, where it's like playing the game for you, automatically bouncing or whatever, right? Like a visual, like, syncr, which shows you, I think, am I thinking of the right one, where it's the is it the rocket?
It draws like a laser that
Yeah,
shows
laser.
where your rocket's gonna land,
Yeah.
which is also a thing in defrag. But I think the other thing that it does, I'm not sure if defrag HUD has this, is I think it changes color as the rocket gets closer.
Right. Yeah.
So it kind of gives you both like aim and timing information.
Yep. So instead of just relying on just the rocket that you fired and looking up or whatever, you could look at a laser that's being drawn. We could even take it one step further and draw decals on the ground, or like a laser or like a circle on the ground that gets smaller as the rocket gets closer, so you can kind of visualize that better. But yeah, absolutely. I mean, we would love to add, training tools like this that help, and we could even introduce them in the learn section, right, showing you how syncs work with these tools in order to better, get better at it, and then, trying it without it or anything like that. We can just kind of build on it like that. But yeah, so any other input for TehBoss's question?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's going to be interesting to see whether this stuff gets added just as training or if it's going to be available during runs.
Yeah.
The standard in TF2 is everybody says don't even bother using syncr, because I'm not sure if it's how it's implemented or what, because I've never really played with it much myself, but what everybody says is it's not that helpful and it's a crutch anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if maybe there's ways we can improve it, or if it's one of those things where people say don't use it because you're not going to be able to have it like in an actual match. And of course, that's not really a concern for us. We don't really care that much about what you can do and not do in TF2 because we are just the speed running part of the game.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, and of course, you also have stuff where like you have the conk players who are like no HUDs at all, don't even put like a timer bar or speedometer or whatever, and then you have defrag where it's like anything goes.
Anything can be a HUD.
Fighter pilot HUD,
Yeah.
And momentum, we want to have a consistent policy as much as we can, but we're not going to be able to do that and also make everyone happy. So
yeah. Which is, I mean, that's just a given. I think our game existing doesn't make people happy. So, I think it
makes a lot more people happy than it makes unhappy.
Unhappy, right? Exactly. Yeah, that's true. But a lot of stuff like that, right? We're going to get input from the community, a varied, input of, people from the community on whether or not we should allow it or not. But yeah, when it comes to visual things, I'm just always in the boat of like, yeah, I mean, you're choosing to add visual clutter if you're worried about visual clutter, but also just like, yeah, if it's available for everyone to use it, I don't really think there's too much of a disadvantage, but depends on what it does, I guess. But so we'll see. Anyway, thank you for the question, TehBoss. We'll see how default, right, syncr or our version of syncr will be, but for the most part, yeah, we are interested in training tools like that, just to help. Yeah. All right, cool. We'll move on to the next. Thank you for that question.
Tarrega asks, I can't speak for other game modes, but in Surf, the map pool can vary depending on the game and tick rate. How will this be addressed in Momentum mod?
Very good question.
Relevant. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So the Surf map pool, right? The variation in by game usually is just like TF2 feeling fucking weird. I don't know. Like TF2 is feeling weird. I don't think a lot of people surf TF2, but I mean, there are people that are going to be coming from that. Realistically, we want the game to feel consistent in the mode that you're choosing. And what we're going to allow right down the line is sub modes, or just kind of like modifiers to the mode, right? So, for example, for surf, right, we might eventually have 100 tick surf leaderboards or stuff like that, right, for certain maps, or if maps are made for that or something. So we can have we can have these kind of modifiers underneath the mode that you can filter for content that is supported by it. The other thing too, right, is that we want to start to push maps towards being just kind of like environments to play in, and not necessarily like the thing that it was made for, because there's a lot of overlap that you could do. For example, like defrag and ahop, where wide open maps, you can kind of really just play either one of those, right, and get a good time or something on. And then there's also maps that have been made for one specific mode that might be pretty fun in another mode. Now, obviously, there's like overlaps that don't really make sense. Like playing a bunny hop on surf is just 100 tick, surf. Like that's not right. Like, so there's gonna be modes like that it doesn't really make sense to mix, because it's like, yeah, we'll probably have like another avenue to play like 100 tick surf, like under the surf mode. But we do want to have, right, the ability to kind of cross, I guess cross contaminate, right? Being able to cross play like maps, right, in different modes. So that's very appealing to me, and personally. So I really want to push for that. And yeah, I would say tick rate isn't really the biggest concern. I think obviously a higher tick rate just makes it, it's going to make it easier, because you have more ticks to calculate air excel, so you get more speed basically in general. So like, right, like when it comes to pulling from like TF2 or something like that, a lot of the maps that we're trying to add should ideally work for CSS based settings, which is what our surf mode in particular is based on. So we want to have that consistency for the map. Like we're not going to have like TF2 version of surf, right? Like, because that just starts to pollute it for no reason, where it's like, like the air excel is a little weirder, and also bounding box changes or something. But like, and like for CSGO and CSS, where it's like, bounding box changes, and then I think there was something weird too. But for the most part, I think a lot of players can be happy with the way that we're implementing the modes to be consistent, and then just enforcing that consistency when maps are being submitted is how we're going to really address that. But yeah, tick rate, and just like alternate modes like trick surf and stuff like that, those will be down the line. They're just like sub modes, right, of the overall kind of game mode.
Does tick rate become a sub mode? I forget.
Right. So
let's go back to the doc.
Yeah, we have the doc on it.
The bind at this point. I just wanted to add on terms of TF2 stuff. There's lots of TF2 surf maps that play really well in like every mode, and like Utopia's one. Surf Me, I think is TF2 maybe.
In every game that has surf, right. Yeah, like so Utopia came from TF2.
Yeah. Most TF2 stuff works fine for the game itself doesn't matter too much.
Right. Yeah. So I think once if you get in to the game, you can really see how it feels for yourself. I think a lot of people are happy with it. We haven't really gotten too many complaints, at least to our faces, about surf. It is 1-to-1 CSS, so if you're coming from there, you'll probably already be used to it. But when it comes to tick rate and stuff, it is 66 tick. So if you're used to 128 from CSGO or something crazy like that, it might feel a little harder because of the lack of tick rate there, or the reduced tick rate rather.
Just to clarify with the doc, we got 100 ticks skill surf as listed as a post 1.0 sub mode. So
yes. Yep. So it'll be a sub mode that you can then filter for, ranked stuff like that. Yeah. So we'll make all of this public. We did a lot of, outlining how we want to do like sub modes and stuff like that. We will actually publish this in blog posts and explain it.
Yeah.
So that it's, people aren't kind of blindsided by the changes we're going to be making. But so. Any other input for Tarrega's question here? I can't roll my R's. It's probably a... Anyway, all right. Thank you for that question. We'll move on to the next.
Big boy. Murgle asked, on Repster's podcast, Beetle mentioned a dynamic tier system which would expand if a difficult map doesn't fit into the existing tiers. What does the Momentum Mod team think about a dynamic tier system?
There was more to this. I couldn't fit all of this in the slide,
Okay.
but there was also something about how if it isn't dynamic, then technically all of the other maps would be kind of shuffled down and re-tiered to be lower. So how do we feel about instead this dynamic tier system that like the upper cap of difficulty just keeps raising as more and more hard things get added, right? Or come into existence. I think, honestly, I think that's the way to go. I think that there is actually going to be an upper limit to difficulty. I think our expanded tier or our expanded map limits is really going to put a lot of like newer maps that tend to be longer and difficult towards that upper end of like, yeah, it's tier 9 by default because it's like fucking like what, 20 minutes world record time or something, you know, like crazy long maps that can fit into our new BSP limits, right, are going to push that upper bound pretty easily. We're going to start with 10 tiers. I'm not really like cemented in it staying at just 10. I think it's better to raise that 10 up to 12 if we start to hit more, you know, oh, this one's more of a tier 11, right? Start to raise it to 12, start to raise it kind of, you know, abstractly, because it's easier to kind of think of like maps in like a scale, right? But there are maps that will start to be difficult for different reasons, of like a 20-minute long linear map, right? That's like you fail once in the 18-minute mark, right? Like there's stuff like that with just the combination of everything Momentum offers, right? That like will make maps genuinely more difficult, but not because it's like, oh, like a traditional, you know, tier 7 map where it's like it's really precise, like you have to be almost task-like. There's just like endurance difficult maps, right, where it's just gonna be hard to play for that long or something, or be consistently, you know. But that's where the fun speedrunning, like, you know, like watching Jehoshaphat like run like, you know, Pharma or something, like stuff like that, right? Like, so I don't know, like that's, we definitely want to raise that upper bound as it makes sense, or like as we see fit, because when maps get added that are like pushing that boundary, which they will, right? We don't even know what a tier 10 map looks like yet. And who knows past that, right? But at the same time, we don't want to invite mappers to just make fucking impossible shit, if that makes sense, right? Like things that like just nobody can do without like segmented only maps or something like that, where it's like, oh, it's really cool and like really fun, but you have to do segmented, otherwise it might kill you and to grind for this or something. But that's also part of the challenge in a way of like, you know, like a 20-minute long death map or whatever is like actually insane. It would be really funny to watch somebody grind for. So yeah, I don't know, like I really like the idea of having just more tiers as just harder and harder stuff gets figured out and tested and implemented, because that's the other thing too, is like we don't want to have just shovelware hard bullshit on the map selector. Like we really, or I guess sorry, ranked on the map selector. We can have things unranked, so it's like, yeah, we could add this like, you know, really hard map that like is almost impossible, but it, you know, like if nobody's like playing it, right, we don't want to have people's like
just unrank it and put it as like max tier. Yeah,
exactly.
Maybe if we did add more tiers down the line, we'd increase the tier, and that wouldn't affect ranking, because also, I mean, our ranking system does the volatility of it, the way we're planning on implementing it, might mean we can be a bit more flexible with this anyway.
Yeah,
that's quite technical, but we do plan on sort of having the way we calculate ranks be a bit more easier to recalculate, essentially.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I genuinely think it's a good idea. I don't think we have any reason to bump out of 10 right now, but I think the idea that, yeah, as we start to see what tier 10 maps look like, and like harder than that tier 10 map, you know, that starts to get into a tier 11-esque thing, right? Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see where maps go, but I think that, you know, a lot of the I think a lot of like players are just genuinely looking forward to just seeing I guess the cooler mechanics that could be used now instead of difficulty. But who knows? There's people that that are, you know.
I want to say that like surf mapping and stuff like has just naturally gotten harder. I mean, that's kind of the
Yes.
mode I know most, but like,
Yep.
not that I know super well actually, but like, there are tier 7s and tier 8s now, I think,
Yep.
on the sort of originally 6 tier system. I think I don't really follow it. I haven't really followed it in about 5 years, to be honest. But like, the that evolution is quite natural and quite organic, and comes from mappers making good maps that are challenging, not stupid shit.
At,
But I think, yeah, us accommodating that seems like clearly the best way of doing it. It does just mean that you have to have a different max tier for different modes, but I don't think that's necessarily the end of the world. I don't
but
know.
also, I mean, genuinely, maps do get easier over time as the skill ceiling kind of lowers, if that makes sense, to where
Yeah.
there's more and more players playing these harder maps, to where these older harder maps just don't feel as hard, because like the newer maps that maybe do the same mechanics but harder, or better or whatever, right? Like you just fly through these older harder maps, whereas these newer like tier 10 maps, right, for example, really push you. So like maps could technically shrink in tier, right, to where if there is a map that genuinely like feels like it should not be at the current tier that it's at, we could look into lowering the tier of it,
So,
where the only thing that affects is just future completions of the map would get just less XP. That's the only thing it would change. We wouldn't
well,
like recalculate XP or anything if
but
it's just that.
no. This is the thing that this I'm starting to think about with the system that we're planning. We could recalculate all that. And
I
we,
wouldn't
we,
want
we
to. When it comes to
it literally
cosmetic
will
stuff
never.
like that, I would not want to do that.
Oh, what? Because we do Oh yeah, no,
Cosmetic
okay.
X,
The
yeah.
cosmetic XP, no.
No,
Yeah,
but
sorry. The ranking
ranking,
stuff isn't affected by
yes.
tier
And
anyway.
it
So
isn't, yeah. So,
yeah,
Yeah, I was going to say, I think it's
yeah.
important for everyone to just to make it clear that the tier of a map is really only for cosmetic purposes and letting people
yes.
know like how difficult something is. It's not actually going to
Yeah.
factor in
And
the ranking system.
right,
And I
and
do
the
think,
tier, sorry, and the tier is specifically for completion. Speedrunning tier we cannot accurately rank, right? Because that it depends on the skips, and so, like there could be an impossible thing to do to where it doesn't even make sense to tier something based on the speedrun or world record route, right? So we're our tier system is really just a guide for players to determine how hard baseline is the map to complete. Can you walk the entire map and complete it, or do you have to do some crazy shit that like you actually need to grind and learn? That kind of determines, right, the tier, and it's only for completion.
I do think that it is useful to have based on completion, even though like yeah, a map that you can just walk to the end of, nobody's actually going to do that. Except
Right.
some people actually might, because when you're just brand new starting out, especially if you haven't gone through all of our learn stuff,
Right.
there might be some people that come into defrag or something like that and are strafing like it's b hop, and so for all intents and purposes, they might as well be walking to the end because they're not going
Right.
to get very much speed,
Yeah.
or things like that. And I mean, yeah, tier 1 is a little questionable in terms of like, okay, yeah, nobody's actually going to literally walk to the end of any maps.
Right.
But as you go up beyond that, I think it's a really useful tool for figuring out what maps you can actually do. Like if you look at the map selector and you see, oh, that's a tier 7.
good,
I've only ever built. I've only ever beat a tier 3. I'm not even going to try.
Right.
I think it's useful for that, and it's also nice to see progress. Like, oh,
Yeah.
I beat a tier 4 map for the first time ever.
Yeah.
So based on completion, I think even though it can be a little odd at the low level in terms of like, making every strafe map in defrag tier 1 because you can walk to the end of them, I think it still does serve a useful purpose.
And we can have like milestone kind of things where it's like beat 50 tier 4 maps, and you have kind of like a badge that you could have on your profile or something like that. I know, right, as we add more and more maps, right, those kind of like progress things, we can only look at like how much you have done as opposed to like out of a hole. We'll have that stat, sorry, but it's like it won't be like a badge for beating all tier 4, because like the moment we add another tier 4 map, that badge goes away. I mean, we could technically do that, but it's just annoying to have to keep like getting that badge. So instead, like milestone stuff, we'll look at just like, oh yeah, how many tier like 4 maps have you beaten, right? You've done 50, here's a bonus XP drop or something like that. Like we could do things like that. So you still celebrate progress, but you still don't. It's a never ending, right? It's the hamster wheel, right? Never ending of like as we add more and more maps that are tier 4, yeah, you don't just keep getting like, debated into into getting a badge over and over again. But yeah. So, any other input for Murgle's question here?
No, I think I completely agree with both. Yeah, just expanding. It doesn't really help anyone to contract, right? To fit.
To resize map,
it's
re-tier maps, yeah. We will be re-tiering all of the maps to fit our 10 tier if it's not already, in that system. So we will be re-tiering maps as we add them to fit it. But but as we grow, right, like that's where we'll just leave the maps alone and just focus on the newer maps that are harder.
We need to discuss that more, who decides the tier. True. But if you have, Mapper giving their suggested tier, reviewers giving suggested tier, stuff like that, we can do that on Tuesday. When we talk about Tuesday, you got your day off. We're going to talk about map submission.
America has the day off, baby. Yeah, I know.
What was it? What did he do? The Thanksgiving, or I don't know.
Yeah, it's
Dog Day.
Thanks of July. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yep.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Cool.
Anyway, yeah, we'll talk more about tier systems.
That no one can figure out this key. Can you recognize the language note?
Is that like a? Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, I know which language it is. I won't spoil it though. Yeah.
The next language, I think people will recognize. Okay.
Anyway, thank you, Murgle, for that. Yeah. We'll move on to the next.
That's a good question. Yeah. Resistance asked, if each of you could choose one person to work on Momentum mod, who would you choose and what would you have them work on?
Oh, this is
I've already guessed what Lumia's going to say.
Huh?
I've already guessed. No, I don't think he would actually. I think he might mention this.
No, I'm not going to mention him. Screw that guy. I don't know. It's. I don't really understand this question. Like, why would we be choosing?
Yeah.
If I could just like snag some random developer or artist or somebody and say, "You work on Momentum now." Like, I have no idea.
Good people with good technical ability is great, but a lot of it is just finding people that you click with and can work well together. That's what I sort of look forward to with working on projects like this. It's just like working with people as a big homogenous weird lump, as opposed to loads of individual geniuses or something. But
I feel like it's really hard to answer this because I don't want anyone to work on Momentum who doesn't actually want to work on Momentum. Especially when we have so many people who kind of show up and they're like, "Oh, can I do some random thing to get a key?" It's like, no, go away.
I mean, if
you care about the game and like the game, go ahead and contribute. But so like if I can't really think of anyone who I would want to pick to work on Momentum mod who isn't already interested in working on it.
Yeah, honestly, I would say I'd like to just hire some of the people we currently have full time. I don't know, Slidey or someone, and just people that. I mean, I could talk about pretty much anyone of our programmers or false lead 3D artists, but loads of different people who if they just had more time to work on the project, we'd get so much out of. It honestly feels quite picking some individual notch.
Yes. Yeah.
He's got the time.
Yeah, and the money to hire us.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. Not Notch, but I was gonna basically say that. Yeah, I feel like I can't really answer this because I already have the people that I would want to work on Momentum mod working on the game with me. Because that's just kind of how the team works in general. It's just like, but it'd be really cool to get Marty O'Donnell on for audio, for music. Get some. I'm just I'm a Halo. Yeah. Yeah. Let's get Let's get some music stuff that'd be really cool. Or just get input from him or something. But
it really is the case with creative projects like this that are done sort of mixture of creative and technical, but they're being done by a big group of people. It really is genuinely a case of you need people that click well together and are competent, but it's not about individuals that much. I mean, of course it can be, but it shouldn't be just picking some random good game dev out of the air isn't gonna doesn't mean that they'd be good on momentum or we'd click with them, or that like
Right.
it's sort of just not a way to think about it. Not to be
If-
fucking funny though.
Todd Howard, yeah. Just get all of like the meme faces of
Howard.
the it, Martin guy
That's the thing, you
from
think about,
CD
the
Projekt
aspects
Red.
of I
get Kojima
personally
on
I
this.
doubt Todd Howard really has much.
Kojima.
Kojima, I mean,
We'd get hyped the fuck out if we got Kojima on.
it is an
he's
interesting question looking at certain game devs who are sort of auteurs and really do
Yeah.
really fully like control a project, like Miyazaki, right? Hidetaka Miyazaki, Elder Scrolls. Not Elder Scrolls, what am I saying? Dark Souls. Can you make that with
Elden Ring. Yeah.
What makes some of the Elder Scrolls games good are like the little sort of side quests and stuff that you get the impression Todd Howard has no role in entirely, and you get the impression that the stuff that makes a lot of Elder Scrolls games really bad is Todd Howard. It's my opinion. But then I don't know, of games that like really feel polished and really, really great. I mean, I think Hades is a game that you can tell has a team that was working incredibly well together.
Yeah.
I think is a really good example because you have people in every department there doing really, really fantastic work. So Supergiant there, like, but that's not, you can pick out individual people there, like Darren Korb or Greg Casavin, I think that's his name, as being really brilliant. But like, it's not something where even then it really feels that meaningful to sort of distinguish them above everyone else on that team.
Right.
And like, I don't know, the kind of game projects I want to work on are those kind of things where it is something genuinely very collaborative and it is more than the sum of everyone's parts,
Yeah.
I mean, you mentioned Nick. You mentioned Kojima, and with the world he has in the Death Stranding, the B Hub will be just fire. It will be fun.
Yeah.
If it was for me, I guess I'm probably gonna mispronounce it. The Gustavo it's either Coutinho or Cachtina. I actually don't know. I'm sorry. He's probably not gonna hear that. That's a Payday 2 and 3 sound designer, and I would love him to not to teach me not how to make music, but like technical side of things. Like what volume you need to have, how can you make music that it will be looping all right, because my loops are pretty much bad, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
More of technicals, how to work with the VWise, I think it's called WWIs, yeah, VWise, or FMOD, which is like free, I think, Unreal or Unity plugin for inserting music in games.
Fmod you can hook into any engine. We might use Fmod.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, so like that stuff, I'd love him to teach me. Shout out to him, by the way.
Yeah, it's like there are some technical, like prowess that you could ask about, and that would be really cool. But it's just like when it comes to like actually answering this, like, yeah, I don't think I could ever like pick like one I would definitely go the route of like, I like this game dev studio, like that'd be cool if like it became their project and like we all work together on it.
I'm more interested in learning from what they're doing well,
right, and then using
people,
that,
right, as opposed to
right, than being like bought out by Rockstar or something, and then forced to make it. But anyway, so this was a great question though. Thank you for asking this, Resistance. We'll move on to the next one.
Well, we kind of spent the whole time saying why it's a bad question, but it's led to some interesting.
Yeah,
That's a good question.
Yeah. Oh, fuck off, Orcs. Orcs asked, when will Momentum mod finally implement Doomfist parkour from the original Overwatch? It's really funny that they like got rid of that so much.
I didn't even know Doomfist had parkour. I have to see that.
Yeah.
I have to look it up.
Doomfist movement in Overwatch 1, I guess, before they made him a tank and got rid of one of his. Had some really interesting movement. Partly because that like collision is really weird. You'd punch into props at certain angles and get weird boosts and stuff, and there was a lot of consistency to it. I mean, just a really.
That's so funny. Oh my
FPS
god.
games that are good, that like actually have good movement and combat together, like, you know, Overwatch really basically never does that. I think there's Wrecking Ball and
And
Doom.
yeah.
Yeah. And they got rid of Doom. I don't know, like there's Lucio movement, like Lucio.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm familiar with Lucio movement, but
Yeah,
it's
I
like
don't
just
know.
literally wall running.
You look at. I would say like I used to watch a little bit of like Overwatch League, like way back. I think like the first season or whatever of it, and like you know
Yeah.
most good Lucios wouldn't be doing crazy wall running tech and stuff. You would see some Doomfist players actually using like really advanced movement.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's quite unfortunate that they turned Doomfist into like a tank. But I don't know. That is sort of the sort of constant frustration with Overwatch and other sort of big franchise FPS games is that they do really not seem to care about doing good movement based combat. Because I mean it just seems like a complete no brainer to do that as part of an FPS. Like it is the core thing that makes FPS games fun, I think, is the combination of, you know, aiming stuff and movement, and it's atrocious how bad a lot of movement is. Anyway, I'm just using this as a chance to rant about FPS games, I guess, but I assume a lot of people playing Momentum feel the same. So
Yeah.
just a circle jerk, really.
Right. No, I think a lot of people come from like Tribes and Titanfall 2 and stuff where it's just like, yeah, the movement it's part of it, and that's what makes it great.
TF2. I mean, like TF2 6 is like, you know, movement does play a genuine
rocket jump,
big role.
yeah, rocket rollouts,
you know,
right?
Scout has so much like complexity to Scout movement.
Yeah,
like, really, and obviously Quake and similar stuff.
So
yeah.
But I think the thing that I think it's understandable that a lot of game developers would want to get rid of exploits like this. You know, I don't think that if I was an Overwatch developer, I wouldn't want to make it so that to play my game, you have to learn this like weird glitchy stuff.
Yeah, right. Whereas like with Momentum, we're like
hero pool,
teaching it. Yeah.
But I mean, even in Momentum, like we're going to be kind of doing the same thing with the ranked map pool, right? Like we have standards for what maps we want people to be playing. And we're going to say like,
sure.
No, you can't, like, we're not going to rank this map because that's not what we see as part of our gameplay. So I think it's understandable that
or competitive nature. Yeah.
FPS games would be getting rid of certain mechanics like this. It's just, it is kind of a shame because they're interesting mechanics. And maybe, you know, sometimes you could say there's opportunities to actually turn them into something legitimate instead of a bug. Like, you know,
right. But TF2 did that fantastically. You know, TF2, they set out to do rocket jumping and sticky jumping as a core part of playing that. They still make Soldier and Demo perfectly playable if you don't learn how to rocket and sticky jump, or you know the very basics of it. But they still managed to balance TF2 in such a way that, like, I guess, okay, any decent soldier is going to like dominate pubs in TF2, but like, I don't know, like it is the sort of mark of good FPS game designers that they are willing to not just appeal to lowest common denominator and try and make, you know, classes or characters, whatever, heroes that have movement mechanics that, you know, you gain something from learning. They don't necessarily completely take over the game, or is not super overpowered. And I would say Doomfist kind of was like Doom was always like generally decently balanced in Overwatch when I played it, I think, and super fun. And like, if I was to get seriously play Overwatch, like I'd probably play Doomfist. I think like because the movement is genuinely quite interesting. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe I can kind of see with current stuff with Overwatch, maybe they are doing more lowest common denominator appeal, and so that makes more sense for them. But yeah, I don't know. It's a shame.
Yeah. We'll see where it goes, though. I think, you know, like games can only get so safe before it just turns into like people want to have that depth and complexity again, and like indies might scoop you know a lot of that player base back, and then AAA copies indie, you know, like, so the vicious cycle of like
kind of back and forth. But I mean, there is just the fact it's so hard to launch any FPS multiplayer game right at the moment. But like any
BattleBit seems to be doing it though, and that's literally just Battlefield and Roblox. But yeah.
Oh, that
yeah, and it's pretty good. But
that's just
So
something like that where it already has that existing platform has.
But who knows? Like genuinely, who knows how big Momentum could be, to where does a AAA studio look at our success if we have a lot of it and copy or do anything. Like see that movement is something that could be worthwhile to do. That could be fun.
Momentum's movement is really hard to dumb down.
True. But
Really
like
hard. Maybe parkour, but
maybe parkour, yeah. But we'll see. Anyway,
I mean, even
thank you.
Parkour, there's some crazy stuff in there.
Yeah. Thank you,
Parkour.
Ox.
Yeah, thanks, Ox. Redz Minecraft movement. Minecraft parkour? Question mark. No.
No,
I do
to
like
both of
Minecraft
those.
movements in a way. It's quite innocent and quite kind of fun. I don't know.
Kind of floaty.
I mean, Minecraft has after hop, right? After jump, and we have the hop, so we technically have that already.
I do think that in the thing behind me that we got the Momberg in the background there.
Momentum
We do have
iceberg,
Minecraft Elytra movement is on there somewhere. I do really like the Elytra stuff. I'd like to read the code for it just because I'm sure it seems quite simple how they implemented it. The Elytra is really fun in Minecraft. Like it's Minecraft bow punch tech. I know that. No, we'll do the minecart movement.
Minecart movement.
I think that if we can't come to a consensus on what Counter-Strike game to base our climb mode off of, we should just base it off Minecraft.
Base it off of Minecraft to take like the Chad approach to it. Isn't there? I mean, there's already a standalone like Minecraft parkour game. I thought.
Is that?
Yeah. There was somebody playing it in one of our meetings. I think somebody in chat will probably bring it up.
Okay.
I'm not dreaming, right? There is a fucking Minecraft parkour game.
Minecraft
and
specifically, I think
it's like it's based on it, and it's like if you stand still, you start getting vertigo or something. Like if you're that game. I don't know.
I would say Minecraft movement in speedruns can be great, but I think the reason that is the movement itself is decent. You have a good amount of control over the player and like a decently high skill ceiling. But you're doing that in combination with making lots of decisions really fast. So that makes seeing some Minecraft speedruns when it's not just endlessly waiting for good RNG, that can be really interesting to watch.
When it comes to implementing movement from other games, I mean, we're not going to do Doomfist or Minecraft Parkour or whatever, but not having source code is a massive obstacle. I still think that even for parkour, it's a source engine game. We know that the movement's based on the basic source engine Half-Life 2 movement, but without the source code, even that is going to be very difficult to replicate properly. And I think that at best we're going to end up with a close approximation, but something like Minecraft or Overwatch, that would be really difficult to do.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, at that kind of point, I think we should just start designing our own movement systems. And trying to just figure out stuff that's good that we like from different modes and work on that. And I think Lumi, you've been kind of doing that with Vintage a bit, right? You've been taking a few liberties there, or?
No, I've kind of reined that back a little bit.
Okay.
When I was working on the 087 defrag mod, that was very much kind of anything goes. I was taking movement mechanics from everywhere, and it was awesome. It was really cool, but at this point, I don't see a way to get that into Momentum mod. Like, I don't know how anything like that would fit into the game as we have it now.
2.0 game mode mix and stuff, maybe, but
future thing.
Something with deliberately. Momentum mod in Java. Okay,
it's coming. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just a good point there, where it's like we really want to keep the scope of this game to just kind of like Source-esque movement, with Quake being the grandfather of Source and Titanfall being Source-based, right? That's kind of the reaching that we've done. So, we don't really want to have like too much under the scope of what Momentum's trying to be. Down the line, we could start to explore other ones, but right now, we have our 10 modes. We're going to probably stick with that, add some sub modes until 2.0 where we have mode mixing, and that's where we start to really branch out more. But all right, thank you, Red.
Huge amount of sub modes.
Yeah. There's a lot that people are going to be able to play in the game, like even just like 1.5 or whatever, right? Like, so
90% of it is like surf and b-hop.
Yeah.
Moving on. I need to go for 5 minutes. I'm gonna make some more coffee, and I need the toilet. Don't know why I'm telling everyone that. Anyway, the next question, yes, is the answer, but you can answer. So, yeah.
Yep. So TehBoss, yeah. Will there be mode-specific keybinds? Yep. We got to get the UI in place and designed. Overwatch's UI is pretty good in that regard, with having kind of each of the classes, and you can change, via drop down. So we'll have that too. We'll have kind of like a default, every mode that you customize it there, and then you can override in specific modes. So like for Surf and Bunny Hop, if you want turn binds on your clicking, left and or mouse 1, mouse 2, you can do that, right? And then RJ will have firing. So things like that, right? Like we recognize, right, that modes do not have one, global layout that you can do, right? So having an override there is definitely planned. That was kind of an easy one, but any input for TehBoss discussion? Cool. All right, cool. Okay, this one needs a bit of a
I can read it.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, you can read the question.
Will Momentum Mod be implementing Nick's deranged QNA-Live messages in the official campaign commentary?
Okay.
I mean, we're gonna make chapter out of it.
Yes. Yeah, there's gonna yeah, cat on the keyboard. No. Okay, so there's a bit of explanation to do here. So if you go into the Q&A-Live, we left it up because it's funny. It's fucking dumb. So for those who have not heard of the project called Nucleus Co-op, it's a very, very cool project that lets you basically boot 2 versions or 2 instances of a game and run local co-op using like LAN mode or something, right, in the game. So Master Chief Collection, Risk of Rain 2, you can just kind of like boot up games like those and play locally with somebody. And it's amazing. It's an amazing project that has some flaws with capturing input. Specifically with if you end up losing the input to the game, which it could if you don't press, I think you have to press like N key or something, it starts to like put the input in other programs that you might have open, including Discord. That might be, for some reason, I was on the Q&A-Live channel, and so it started to do like on-screen keyboard, or I think it was like the Steam on-screen keyboard, and just all of our inputs were literally turning into emojis and whatever you see in Q&A-Live. So that's what that was. I was not hacked. It's really funny because we were playing that and just get like a ping on Discord, and you're like, and I think it was Tom. Tom's like, "Are you okay? Are you like hacked?"
The best part is that's a rate limited channel, but of course Gocnak has admin privileges.
Yeah, admins don't get rate limited in it. Yeah,
one message every 5 minutes, and then Gocnak's going off.
Just going off. I'm going ham. I'm dropping some truths in that channel. So yeah, that's what that was. But for people that don't watch this Q&A-Live or this Q&A stream, just act like I got hacked, I guess. I don't know. It's funnier that way. But that's what that was. I would heavily recommend checking out Nucleus Co-op. Very cool project, and I'm gonna see if it works with Momentum. I don't know how hard it is to like add games to that, because that's cool. I mean, we could do a split screen, like Portal 2 has an in-game like split screen thing that we could try to look into, but when it comes to like multiple accounts, it gets a little weird. But no, I've heard about Batman Discord account. We preemptively kicked him from ours, so hopefully he won't be scamming anyone yet. But yeah, that sucks. Make sure you don't click sketchy links in Discord, people. It's very easy apparently for your Discord account to get fucking taken over. So just be safe. Anyway, yeah. So that's what that was. Now you guys know. Sorry about that. Yeah, it's just funny though. Looking back on it, it's whatever. It's a little piece of history. But yeah, heavily recommend checking out Nucleus Co-op. You can play like Borderlands locally together, and it doesn't support split screen natively for some reason. A lot of the console ports of the games do, but like the PC ports don't for some fucking reason. It's so dumb. Even if it just saves under your own Steam account, it's whatever. Anyway, yeah, very cool project.
Just don't leave Discord open.
Don't leave Discord open. Make sure you press the N key, or I think it's home key. I forget. It's one of the like weird keys that you press to like lock your input to the game, which I now do, every single time. So there should not be return of cat on keyboard Gocnak anytime soon. So
what did you say it was called?
It's called Nucleus Co-op. I'll type it in chat actually. Nucleus Co-op. Very, very cool. Very cool program that just boots, like there's game handlers and then you point it to the game that you have locally. So however you get the game, it works with Steam versions of games, so usually the handlers actually require that. But yeah, so yeah, very, very awesome project. Feel free to check that out. It works really great with like I just have two controller, like Xbox controllers, or you can get like third-party ones too that just connect like to your computer via Bluetooth. So very nice. But yeah. Better than remote play? That's a good question. I'll answer that and we'll move on. Sorry. Not every game supports remote play. And it is better than remote play because it's local to the same computer, if that makes sense. It's not over a network. So remote play is amazing for the games that support it, and if you have a good connection to the other person playing, because it's Steam peer-to-peer kind of stuff. But yeah, for the for like if they're sitting with you, right, like in the same room using the same computer, you can use that, and it's 2 copies of the game individually that it's like it renders, like for example Master Chief Collection is like rendering full quality and like 144 frames, stuff like that. So like it's beautiful. It looks amazing compared to like video streaming the gameplay or anything like that. So I'd say it's better, but it's very specifically local. Like it won't, I don't think it works with remote play together. I know there's like remote play everything. I was looking into that too because that's pretty cool, but yeah. Sorry, not to hijack this, but that's why those were in the channel, and yeah, we might make a reference to it. We'll see. But yeah, forgot to lock his inputs for Dwarf Fortress. Yeah, pretty much. What the fuck? Oh my god, is that classic language?
There's no way that generates a key. That's way too short.
Yeah. Actually, yeah. What is? Okay, so you have to decipher what the. Okay, is that like a language or is that like a just kind of like a base language? Okay. Anyway, thank you, Fishy, for asking about that. Sorry again about the disruption. It won't happen again, hopefully. So we'll see. But yeah, that's just the backstory on why that happened. And definitely check out Nucleus Co-op. Cannot recommend it enough. It's very nice for local split screen stuff. Okay, we'll move on to the next.
Can I read it?
Yeah, absolutely. Go for it.
Rellort asking, is brute forcing planned to be part of the task tools, and if not, could it be added?
Yeah, so if this is in Batman, which also, yeah, coincidentally, rip Batman's Discord account. Sorry about that. But yeah, if Batman's task tools includes this, I believe we would be getting this. We do want to work with Batman to get their task tooling into the game. So if that's part of it, absolutely. If not, could it be added? I would have to see what it does. If it's just like it kind of just plays the next part of the game, like if that's what you mean, where it's like it kind of just like, well, actually no, that's prediction. Brute forcing, I guess I'd have to see what it does, but I'd assume we'd probably add it, just so that it makes kind of routing or like the process of creating a route easier. Yeah,
I'm just unclear as to what that is. Like,
yeah, I'd have to see it.
Segment over and over again from like a save pause or save state or whatever. Like, what is it?
It's like it probably just kind of simulates like doing the game and like getting forward more into the route. automatically for you, so you don't have to like manually do. But I don't know. I just have to see what's meant by brute forcing here. But I mean, it could be added if it's relatively straightforward. I mean, it seems pretty interesting, but I'd have to really understand it before I could give a definitive answer. If it's already in task toolings from like Batman's task tools, we'd love to just work with Batman to get his task tools into the game. So, you know, that's yeah. I guess that's as much as I can say about this. Was there any other input for Rellort's question?
I do hope that we integrate various types of task tools from various games.
Yeah.
I know that there's some kind of specific defrag scripting stuff. I think TF2 tasking is basically like a TF2 task is just a segmented run.
Yeah.
All it is. I don't think last time I did a task and last time I've seen people do them, there's no like fancy tools in TF2.
Yeah. Yeah, like having it built into the game is going to be amazing. I can't wait. Task stuff is very exciting to watch, especially the ones that are done for like style points, you know, where it's like there's a beautiful TF2 rocket jump task that was just like very smoothly like going through them. It's just so hypnotizing to watch. So
yeah, it's Shadow Sheep's.
Shadow Sheeps, yeah, that's right.
Christmas, I think. Yeah,
that's so good.
The task to end all tasks for TF2.
Yeah, that was beautiful. So having just runs like that, just to be able to watch is I can't wait. All right. Well, thank you, Rellort, for that question. Sorry that we don't know what brute forcing is. Definitely ping us with any reference videos or anything if you have any, so we can look at it. But yeah, cool. All right, moving on to the next.
I can take that one. Uberosh, I think I pronounced it right. Uberosh asking. He's asked a lot of questions. The first one, can game detect when player falls in teleport trigger zone and after that use mom underscore restart upon trigger. I can't pronounce it. You get the point.
You got it. It's all good. This was actually talked about in the zone meeting, I think. We can have a way to mark specific teleport triggers as fail triggers to where it automatically restarts your run or something if you hit them. But otherwise, no. The game could do it, but to where we like automatically determine or something isn't really feasible and would probably cause a lot of people's runs to get fucked up, as opposed to just pressing a key. Just press a key to restart, you know, like it's.
I don't think that's quite right.
I mean,
like, in terms where we can easily determine what things are fail triggers, then yeah, we would like them to behave more as run restarts. But I mean, your run will restart if you meet the like reset conditions, right?
Yeah, if you're back in the start trigger.
I think with our zoning setup, if you are back in those start triggers, then it will effectively be doing mom restart, right? And I forget that it's going to do all the map state stuff.
Yes,
I think it will.
That will, yeah.
So, in fact, I think this sort of will happen automatically. I think Rio's the one that's
if there
really
are triggers that are marked
about all this, but yeah.
But yeah, if there are triggers that are marked with it, so yes, so
I'm not sure you even need that, because if you're in the start zone and meeting the conditions to do a reset, then I think it will reset you. I think.
Well, I think that what Uberosh is asking here is any fail trigger. Like, you know, if you're in the middle of a jump map and you're going for a no-fail run, just automatically start.
Yeah.
The problem with that is that we don't want to do the work of going through and marking every single fail trigger. And not every, you know, in some cases, you know, a fail teleport you might want to hit it in some cases and not in others. So I don't think it's going to be feasible to do it in the general case, but in cases where like it teleports you back to the start zone, or in cases if it's something like if the mapper's already set it up that way, or if it's like a defrag map where we're converting kill triggers, those will send you back to the start automatically.
Yeah.
But in the general case, I don't think we're going to try to distinguish between teleports that you hit because you failed something and teleports that are just normal teleports, because sometimes they can be both.
Yeah. That's like the extent that we could do, is where it's like mappers, I guess, could do it, but we're not going to automatically or retroactively do it for every map. We could try to for some maps, but yeah. There's also, I think there was discussion about like if you fail within the first, like the grinding the start, where it's just like you mess up the beginning of a map within the first X seconds, it automatically restarts or something. But yeah.
Plar just said in chat that brute forcing is generating a lot of random inputs on small sections of the run and taking the best attempt.
Oh, okay. I see.
Yes.
Okay. I mean, I don't. There's some modes where that, like rocket jump or something, where it's probably not gonna work that well, shooting random rockets or something. But like, yeah, absolutely, yeah, we could do something like that. I mean, yeah, it'd be really cool to like automate a lot of getting the tasks more optimal, right, for you. So yeah, we could look into doing that. Especially I think bunny hop or surf, right? Yeah. Sorry about that. It was my family texting me. Yeah, I usually have my phone there. Sorry. Anyway, yeah. So
there will be a task leaderboard.
Yeah, there will be. Yep. So you can kind of like stack up the runs, like seeing the minor improvements over time. It'd be really cool. Yeah. Brute forcing kills the spirit of the leaderboard. That's true. That is true. Where it would, if it brute forces the entire map. But yeah, I mean, I don't know, because it's like with tasks, right? It's really meant to be the best. Where like brute forcing would just find that. I think segmented runs will also be an interesting leaderboard too, where it's still human played, but like the best of like the human, playing it, as opposed to tasks where it's full on, tick by tick, right? You're manipulating it.
I think that for task stuff, we should just go like full balls to the wall. Every cheat, every script, everything we can think of should be valid for tasks, and we should try to have as much of it in the game as possible. Just like, as especially for tasks where, I don't know if our anti-cheat is going to work as well in that case, depending on how it's set up and all that. A lot of people are probably going to come up with this stuff anyway.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, if we give you a way to have a segment and rerun it over and over again, people are just going to write a script to do the brute forcing part for them.
Right.
So we might as well have it in the game. And I think we're also going to have something in the middle where we have like segmented runs where you don't have all these tools necessarily, or maybe
it's just literally save locking saves the timer state.
Okay, so it's not
as it currently does, but
it's not going to be like there's going to be something in between, like just plain normal runs and like fully tasked runs.
Yeah. So anyway, okay, cool. So that jumped back a bit, but hopefully that helps with the brute forcing question there, and then hopefully that also helps for Uberosh, your question there. Sorry for mispronouncing your name if we are, but we'll move on to the next one here.
And he also asks about localization of our documentation, which is a really great point. But maybe you want to say something first, because
we chatted about this earlier.
Yep.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Basically, are we gonna take it? Or?
No, you got it. You got it.
Basically, it would be nice to see it, but with the way that our game is always updating, the documentation is always updating, I fear there might not be a lot of people who wanna do it, and I guess the main reason is, do people wanna do it? I guess that's like the main point of it. Maybe as some sort of a ending, I guess, in a way, like when everything's gonna be in place, then we can translate that and put it in there.
Dogs never will be.
Hmm?
Docs never will be though. I mean, docs are too like volatile to.
Yeah, and what's the point again? I forgot. I forgot what I wanted.
As docs are updated, asking a translator to then come back and retranslate. The main problem, right, with documentation is that it needs to be accurate, right? Like it needs to be the most up to date that it can be. And so having it be translated is nice, but the moment that we update the English version or the base version, and then however long it takes to translate, is that amount of time that it's out of date. That a player could look at it and be like, following the wrong thing, or yelling at us because it's out of date, and it's not really our fault because we didn't. But
okay, in fairness, I didn't want to say Uberosh sort of commented on that issue.
yes,
I kind of don't agree with their solution to it. I we could sort of go back and forth, sort of talking about this whole thing a lot. I just like to sort of summarize some sort of practical points as why I just think it's won't work, if that's all right. Is that okay?
Yeah, go for it.
So yeah, you could have some system of alerting people when a thing's out of date. Maybe that's okay. We have to then implement that system. That's a hassle to do. So that's one point of just one practical reason. Another one is just that most people aren't interested in translating docs. Maybe some, but if for the most part they'll be badly translated. So, well, not badly translated, but most languages probably won't be translated very much. I would argue that probably not argue. My guess would be docs are long and can contain quite a lot of quite complex technical data. I think there's going to be very few people interested in doing that. I think honestly, it just makes for this sort of confusing situation where we probably have the vast majority of docs pages to be out of date, and just saying, yeah, this isn't good, just refer back to the English. The main thing is I just doubt very many people are interested in doing docs in different languages. Another thing is that we host our docs on Git, so we don't use a wiki system where anyone can come in and edit just via that web page. You can kind of do that on GitHub, but it's a bit more complicated and it needs approval from others.
Yeah.
You can sort of argue for the virtues on what's the opposite of a virtue? Vices of that's not right of either system. I kind of in some ways do prefer the sort of wiki setup, but I mean for us we want our docs to be accurate and actually reviewed by other people, so not one person just comes in and writes a bunch of stuff and that's it, they're on the docs. We do want other people who know that stuff to also verify it. And that works well for a system where we don't have an enormous amount of docs and they tend to be very technical.
Yeah.
And that's the role of docs, right, is to be sort of technical and precise. And for that, in those kind of cases, like review works really well. Less so kind of where, you'd imagine if Wikipedia had some sort of poor review system, I mean, that would just be a nightmare, right? But where that's more, I don't know, I guess you could sort of do that and like review the quality of the citations. That could be quite interesting. But okay, being on Git doesn't help that much. Having to get not many people doing it is annoying. Us having to implement a system that gets docs working. We can get localization working with Hugo, the system we use for our docs. It would be annoying. I don't want to do it. I'm not offering to do it for a very long time. I set up the current Hugo docs a couple of months back. I have so much other stuff to do on my plate. I wouldn't offer to do it. Maybe someone else would want to. I mean, they are open source, but it's just it's something that strikes me as just super impractical. Finally, I do just want to finish on the point that for us, translation, for one, this would never go on PoEditor, right? We're not going to ask people on PoEditor to translate docs because that's not honestly a respectful use of things for us to ask them. It's not a good use of their time, and we're not going to ask people to translate stuff that isn't very useful to have translated. We take some care, in adding strings and stuff in English. We do make some mistakes in cases, but usually they're pretty decent. We know that people are putting time into translating stuff. With docs, like it would be insane to ask the PoEditor a lot to do it. Maybe you get some keen people that are willing to just do the docs, but anyway, I'm sort of waffling on. The final thing is we translate user-facing stuff. The stuff that actually affects actual players is worth translating. That matters. The stuff that's more geared towards developers, stuff like that, generally, you can run through Google Translate and get something probably pretty close to accurate. Maybe it's not ideal, but frankly, it's probably a more practical scenario than having some docs that are not sort of half translated, which is what we'd like to get at best for everything else. Anyway, I've waffled on for too long about this. I just, definitely my.
I also want to add that this is something I've seen before sometimes in other technical documentation or articles and things like that, where, not a lot of people want to translate documentation, but sometimes there will be someone who comes along and says, hey, I took all this and I translated it into my language. And normally projects are happy to link to that stuff, just with a little note saying that this is unofficial and we haven't been able to verify it. If somebody was to come along and say, hey, I translated all of the Momentum Mod documentation into my language, it's hosted here, I'm sure we would be happy to put a link to that and say, this is courtesy of such and such. We haven't verified it, but you might find it useful. I just don't think that it would be good for us to actively seek that out, because it's unlikely that we're going to be able to do a great job at it.
Yeah.
And there is, if you look at the docs right now, like Tom said, we want to translate everything that's user facing. There is some stuff like on our docs page right now that probably could be in game and would be good to translate. But the majority of it is technical mapping information that's only going to be used by a small number of people. So it's not as important to translate because not as many people are going to be reading it overall.
And to note on that too, we do also have other avenues of documentation, like full page stuff. We have our front page, we have our Steam store pages there's localization. Yeah, like things like that we could, translate, and we're not updating it very frequently. But like to where documentation is just more live form, it would just be way more of a hassle than something that's way more static and like our store page, right? Like we're not planning on changing it like that often or anything.
I guess to.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
No, sorry, I was done there. Sorry.
I guess to kind of close that chapter in a way, me and Uberosh, we did talk about payday modding when the stream started, and I don't know if he probably doesn't know, but I'm one of the moderator of a site that's all about payday mod workshop, and we have our wiki about modding, how we do stuff, and it's not translated to, and it doesn't even change, and it doesn't get updated often.
Yeah.
And I guess one of the reasons why it's not translated is what Tom said, and for my guess is that people who are trying to mod stuff, they usually know English anyway, like at least some just basic level to understand. Plus, in any way, Google Translator is gonna help you. So yeah, like I guess that's it. Like I've never saw the technical documentation be translated. I mean, I did so, but if it's some old, maybe for example TF2 guide about how to make hot or something,
or the developer or whoever is maintaining it speaks that language. That's the other thing too. If we spoke Russian or another language like regularly, right, and wanted it to also be in Russian, we would do it. But for now, right, English with a worldwide team, with a worldwide audience, right, English is going to make English is going to make the most sense there.
Given that it's technical documentation, it's more difficult to translate. This is something that I've been told.
I see it.
This is something I've been told before by other people who don't speak English as a first language, is that they prefer to read technical documentation in English, not because English is better, but just because there's usually mistakes into whatever translation their native language is. And I'm sure it goes the other way too. If you have your technical documentation written in Spanish first, and then you try to translate it in English, it's probably going to have more mistakes than an average piece of writing translated into English. So it is something that is difficult to get right, and there are entities, corporations, and organizations much larger than us with much more resources that have done a very bad job at it. So it's difficult for me to imagine that we would be able to do it well, but I'm sure that if someone, like I said, if someone wants to volunteer to do it, we certainly won't stop them, and I'm sure we'd be happy to link to that if somebody came along and said, hey, I translated some of this stuff for you.
Like a fork of our docs or something that was...
That adds it. Yeah, it would just be like you would PR it in, And like, because there are ways that Hugo, which is what we use for our documentation, supports it. But it would be, again, we would have to preface it by just being like, it could be out of date or something. So at that point, it's like, it's nice. It's a nice to have, but I don't think we need it. We definitely need the game translated. We need maybe the Steam store page translated for sure, but technical documentation.
Front page. Also, some of the stuff that's currently on the docs, like the game mode guides.
Yes.
Which some stuff like that will probably move into the learn section.
Yeah.
UI at some point.
Yeah.
I'm really keen on doing that.
Well, not move, but also be there. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Currently, those guys aren't very good. And we will work on those more in the future. And it will honestly just probably be a bunch of team members all sitting in voice, and we'll type them all up. And probably we'd like to do some sort of nice graphics and stuff, not just massive walls of text, but. Yeah. I don't know. Ways of breaking that up, making it so it's a sort of visually appealing sort of summary of the game modes. I think that's something really important for the learn section, which currently crashes.
Is it just learn section, or does the pop up?
No, any pop up. Yeah, it's so. It's probably a pretty easy fix, but
okay, let's get a hotfix out.
I can explain why, but not on voice.
Is it a Pano thing?
Yeah, it's in Pano code. It's just
okay.
Bad access on the
could you
system.
Oh, okay. Can you get a hotfix PR open real quick? Let's just push that during the stream.
I don't know the fix.
Oh, you don't know?
I don't know the fix. No, I can see where it's happening. I don't know this stuff well.
Okay.
I don't think anyone else has.
What did we change that? Is it from?
It's probably something in the event system. No, wait. I mean, I don't think SL and Alice's stuff touched events much.
No, I think it did.
But no, we did do something. Yeah. No, there was something in terms of panel events.
Purge and delete. Yeah, I think I know what's happening.
Okay. Oh, I've got it. Okay.
Yeah, there's some stuff probably being freed when it shouldn't be. That's fine.
We can hotfix that tonight. Do we want to keep this build live, or?
Yeah, we can roll it back.
Because we'd like to show off the stuff we've got. We could maybe roll it back in like an hour after that. I don't know.
I don't think I'm going to be able to boot into the game. I have the pop-up on start.
Yeah.
So,
okay. Yeah, let's roll it back. Oh, I'll do that now.
Yeah.
In any way, just I guess to close it again. In any way, if you have anything localization related, just DM me. I'm lead on that, so we can work it out.
Yep. And we want other languages to be supported where a lot of eyeballs will see it, right? Where it makes the most sense. That's the main thing. Is like docs. Yeah, a lot of people might see it down the line, but like a lot of people are going to see the game and the Steam store page first, and those are like, if we get those translated and maintained, maybe that kind of system can translate, pun intended, over to documentation as well. So we'll see. But like right now, our priority is just getting the game itself localized and then the Steam store page first. So cool. All right. Thank you for that question. We'll move on to the next one here.
Uberosh also asked, will map selector include random map feature?
Yes. We actually used to have an I'm feeling lucky button. But like, with Google getting rid of that, there's no point for us to have it named that. But yes, we do want to have a button that lets you kind of just randomly pick one from the current list. So you can filter, right? You'll be able to filter for the maps that like specific tiers or specific game modes, and then from that list be able to choose a random one. So if you want to randomly choose all of the maps on your list, right, you just default filter, right, and it'll choose one. Otherwise, yeah. But yeah, we do want to have that. So yes, it just isn't in the design currently, but it will be.
All right, the next.
Next one.
Next question.
Oh yeah.
By Lockxta. Sorry, I don't know English. Will the release of Source 2 push back? Counter-Strike 2 or Source 2 push back Momentum mods release? Will any of Source 2 be implemented into Momentum mods?
So first part of the question, no. We talked actually about this in the 2 Q&A streams ago. or was it the last one? I forget. We went into detail about what
last
CS2, what CS2 means for momentum. It in general doesn't really mean much for because the goal of the game doesn't align with what like Gary's mod sandbox, like Counter-Strike, what all these games provide. Like the idea behind momentum, right, is that it's a standalone speedrunning focused game built for the speedrunning modes, right? And then all of the features that come from it being single player. So CS2 will still have game servers, will still have, like it'll be a nicer engine, but yeah. We don't have access to it. We won't probably get access to it. Who knows?
We never will. We
probably never will.
We will
but anyway,
ever get access to it.
Will any of Source 2 be implemented? It kind of already has been with Panorama. Panorama is actually a Source 2 UI framework.
No.
So we do already have some of Source 2 inside of Momentum. But yeah, like for the most part, unless we somehow magically got Source 2, there wouldn't really be any other way. So yeah, we're just going to continue.
I don't think Source 2 would be that big of an upgrade anyway. Like,
it wouldn't.
Looks prettier, but
the code might be cleaner.
I think the map editing tools are maybe better. Like that's the other thing that was asked in this question that was cut off for the slides, but specifically they mentioned like Hammer 2.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe that's better. I don't know. Have they figured out how to get people to compile maps without needing a server farm yet? Like,
yeah.
But otherwise, like, honestly, I've said this before, we could pretty much freeze engine development at this point and still be able to release Momentum mod. There is ongoing engine work because P2CE needs more engine work, and we have some of our own devs who just, enjoy adding features and fixing bugs and stuff. But like in theory, if we were to just freeze engine work entirely, we could still release the game. Like we have everything we need.
DX11 and map size increases, I think, were really two of the most crucial things for us, and those are stable now.
Yeah.
And now, a lot of our efforts recently, like we were talking about earlier, really turned towards the really more game focused stuff. I mean, we'll still get engine stuff, but yeah. I just want to say, I mean, I've said loads of times before, but Panorama is, if I could pick one thing from Source 2 for us to get access to, it would be Panorama, and we have that. It's a bit old and buggy, but it's still fantastic for us, and I haven't been working on it much in a while, but I love working with it, and I can't wait to do more of the web-related stuff for that. I mean, having that is amazing. Yeah, the graphic stuff is nice. Maybe you end up in a situation where all the, mappers for CS2 get really into Hammer 2 and they don't want to do momentum stuff because, like, they're used to using Hammer 2 now. I don't know. I think that will take a long time to come to pass, if ever. So, yeah.
CS2 won't distract us. I don't know. For me, I don't really play Counter-Strike that much anymore. I don't think CS2 is going to make me come back. It literally looks the same in terms of gameplay. Like,
if they've got Lake, then maybe.
Yeah, true. Very Lake.
I've been playing Danger Zone lately because I'm a weirdo. But I mean, CS2 is kind of neat, but it's like...
Yeah, the map tools will be exciting, but it's more of an editor. Like, it's a straight up just like... It's almost like the Unreal toolkit of like, So, we'll see how mappers like it compared to the simplicity of Hammer. Again, we want to make Hammer better. That is our goal, right? A tried and true map editing pipeline, just make it better, would be a much more, I guess, hero or I don't know the right term, but it's the best like path forward for us, because completely redesigning Hammer, completely overhauling Hammer is dangerous for us to do, because unless mappers can translate their like muscle memory and like years of experience over to it, it's going to be worse than just sticking with Hammer.
Overhauling Hammer, and we're being very careful to not change anything.
To not change workflows. We are updating the Qt, right? So that's an exciting Linux map making, right? But we're keeping the same workflows. But then could we improve any of the workflows to make it more drag and drop, except like that kind of stuff, right? Where it's just like it's easier to just overall make a map as opposed to the arcane kind of shit you have to deal with right now to get into a map and play it. But yeah, any other input? Sorry, I think I was cutting somebody off there for Locke's question.
Oh yeah, I just wanted to like Tom mentioned about implementing something from source too. Can we get that, like the feature that you can see your torso, when you look down?
Oh god. It needs to be like in defrag, where if you go fast enough, your entire body just contorts and you turn upside down.
Turn upside. Oh god, maybe we'll see. I mean, yeah, with our map extents, we currently have to fix a bug with rendering, with view models in particular. They get a little fuzzy at the end of the map extents currently. So
a couple of questions from chat here, real quick. Plar asked, "Is it planned to make an autoporter from source 2 to source 1 maps?" No, I don't think so.
I don't think we can support it.
That we have Quake 3 to source thanks to Panzer and Mac's work on BSP convert, but that's because it's still BSP and it stores basically the same data. The source 2 map format, whatever it is completely different. Porting that to source or converting it to a BSP would be extremely difficult, and unless there becomes like a huge amount of source 2 maps, I don't think it would be worth it at all. And then Matan also asked, was there any progress on remaining defrag weapons? Not in the last update, but I did actually show this off in our team meeting today. I do have a working machine gun, railgun, and lightning gun with knockback.
Oh, yeah.
The only remaining things are the shotgun and gauntlet for the weapons. I guess grappling hook, if you consider that a weapon. But it's not done yet. It's not in this update. It'll be a little while. And there's some other things that I need to focus on first that are a little more important, taking priority for weapons temporarily. So it'll still be a while, but there is progress being made on the rest of the weapons.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of exciting defrag progress though, and yeah, it was talked about way earlier in the stream. Yeah, like it was.
I'm so sad we're gonna have to hold this back because now those changes are going to get undone temporarily.
Yeah. Yep. Well, it looks like we can boot into the game. Did you already roll it back, Tom?
I did roll it back. Apparently, it's only the learn pop-up. I'm really confused. I basically, someone said that all pop-ups were breaking, or that pop-ups were breaking, and I just tested the learn one.
It's only the learn one. Okay.
Yeah.
So we haven't rolled back?
No, I have rolled back. I did roll back.
Oh,
okay.
I thought it was more severe than it is. So it maybe I shouldn't have, but... thing is, I can't get it to crash on release build. It seems like I'm only getting the learn one crash on Steam build.
Steam build. Interesting. We'll have to look into that more. But yeah, very fun. We're gonna get some regression testing in place because this is like the 4th fucking release in a row now that we've released and had just a catastrophic crash somewhere.
Regression not trivial. I mean, I guess some stuff maybe, but like
I mean, it's just booting up the game and making sure it doesn't crash by the time we execute like some commands. There's a system that we can use that's like dev only. There's I'll talk more about it. That'll probably come after Clang CL. We got a lot of internal stuff going on with Strata right now of like wrapping up a lot of or getting a lot of the CI automation stuff wrapped up because we currently do a lot of building. There's 4 individual builders that build each game for each platform. So there's like as we add a game, it just exponentially grows. So yeah, we're very quickly going to try to get the builders to just build everything, including every game and every feature flag and stuff that we have internally. But we gotta clean that up more. But yeah. lots of stuff internally to work on, which is very exciting because we can't really talk about it that much publicly because it's more just like how we set up our repository, right? Like it's not really that exciting and or applicable to like talking to you guys about it, but a lot of nerd shit. Zone menu will be fixed in 0.10. That's the new zone tooling and new zone format will be there, so we haven't really bothered touching it because it's about to change in a big way.
You should write a blog post sometime about Strata development.
Yeah, absolutely. Right.
For the web rerun.
I mean, it'd be really cool to go to GDC to talk about this project when it releases. I'm definitely down. It'd be really cool to just talk about open source development, right, of a game and like how that leads to like how you have to run a team and do development. It'd be cool.
I wish we were open source still. I mean, the game. Not
Yeah.
everything else is open source.
Everything else is, yeah. But anyway, was there any other question? I think there was one asked in QNA-Live that we can tackle right now. Oh yeah. We can tackle this one. It's Sowbug's last question there in Q&A-Live.
Are Steam achievements planned?
Yes. So this is a really old, really old Q&A question as well. But yes, Steam achievements are planned, and they're going to be more fun things to do than an actual like, oh, beat a we actually have one on the main app. If you have a main app key, you can see them a little bit. But the main app has where it's just like jump 1,000 times, stuff like that, where it's just kind of like whatever, because the actual like meaningful like achievement where it's like milestone based kind of things or challenges will be facilitated by our website, because it gives you XP, right? Like it'll give you stuff out of it. If we make it Steam achievement related, then people can just use Steam Achievement Manager and unlock everything. So those are just really going to be like fun little things you can do in the game. So like shoot somebody in a surf lobby, that's our combat surf, like achievement. So stuff like that, right? Like it just really dumb shit like that. So that's kind of what Steam achievements will be reserved for. We'll make them funny and polished and stuff like that. They'll be somewhat meaningful, like but whatever, like they're not really gonna be like the things you want to grind for, because we really want you to grind for like the milestone and challenges, or like just challenges in general. We'll have dailies, we'll have weeklies, we'll have seasonal challenges, we'll have we'll have things that you can grind for that aren't like easily unlockable from a third party fucking program.
Yeah.
So
play defrag for 7,000 hours to unlock some of that.
Yeah, right, like time-based ones or things like that. I just think that's the way that you have to go with Steam achievements. And it is, I know that Steam has like the profile, like you can feature like games and stuff on your profile and achievements and stuff like that. But just making achievements that are just relatively fun things to try to do in the game, to kind of have you explore more of the game, play maybe some modes that you didn't yet, to just unlock a Steam achievement, like stuff like that, is more appealing for what they are. But yeah, we will have more than just Steam achievements to try to go for. Yeah, I'm really excited about that, like the challenge system and things like that. Like Modern Warfare 2-esque challenges, where it's like, yeah, as you do more and more surf maps or something, you unlock some surf related cosmetics that you can then wear in the other game modes. It's in lobbies and represented in your replays and stuff like that. So yeah. Cool.
By the way, the reason we're still on the previous question on the screen is because these are the ends of the slides. That question was asked after these slides were made up, so it's not on.
Yep. Yeah. So
another question in voice team from chat, if you want.
Ooh. Yeah, go for it. Yep.
Okay, so QR, I love you. I think there's QR.
Yeah, QR. Yep.
They asked, I made a request in Discord a while back about rngfix being mapper controlled to allow optimal case instead of worst case default, and I think you noted it as a possibility. Is this still a possibility?
This is a Rio question. I believe Rio would be able to answer this, so please reach out to them or ping them. Good question. I think I believe the way that we were going to go with this is just making it consistent in every case. Because having kind of gameplay gameplay fixes toggleable by mappers is something that we might not want to do, just because it would start to make it inconsistent, and that's where players would yell at us as opposed to the mapper.
Maps shouldn't control physics, like
true. Yeah,
I mean, and this is game physics basically. This is like core. It's not
the core movement.
It's not in the realm of maps to decide that.
Yeah, I have a feeling the answer to this is going to be no. We want everything to be consistent.
Well, it's worth talking to Rio about for sure. It's something that appalls me. But
yeah. So yeah, so hopefully that answers that. I'm sure Rio can give more of an explanation as to how our fix is implemented, but it's in the same energy as like, can we toggle, the like ramp bug fix or wall bug fix, right? Where it's like,
Yeah.
no, we want to just have those on all the time, and then introduce maybe an entity that can provide a similar kind of experience of like getting stuck on a wall or something like that, right? Where you just reset, right, the z velocity of a player or something as they fall down a wall, so it looks like they just kind of wall bugged, or texture bugged or something. So yeah, it's unfortunate. It is the unfortunate side, right, of doing these fixes, of momentum existing and having fixes like this. It's like, yeah, there are probably some maps or experiences that, or some server plugins that do it a different way that is more like aligned to how a mapper wants to implement it, but we can't really cater to that because we don't want to offer both ways of fixing something. We want to just fix it and make sure it's good in pretty much all of the cases that we want it, right? Yeah.
We need to have the ability for maps ported from gold source to switch us back to FPS based.
FPS based physics engine. Oh no. Yeah, gold source maps will be interesting if we ever do anything like that. I mean, you can get kind of close with the tick based system, but yeah, it's never gonna feel 1-to-1. That's why, yeah, like people wanting like Half-Life 1 Bunny Hop or something like that, where it's like exactly the same as Half-Life 1. We can't really do because it's a completely different, like Half-Life 1 was frame based, right? So if you had any fluctuation in frames, that changes how the game plays. You have to set it explicitly to like 99 or whatever for FPS max, and so like things like that where it's like we have a tick based engine and you can kind of play on whatever frame rate, right, and still get the same kind of gameplay. Yeah, like that's what we're focusing more on, but. Okay, cool. Yes, the 2-hour mark. Was there any other, I guess, really last minute questions here that we could... Oh, we got a hype train, and let's go scam train. Thank you so much, Caddy Nip and that Merc, for subbing. Oh, I might also have mine too. I can like alt tab out and get that.
If you know someone with Prime, I have basic morals, so don't subscribe for Amazon Prime, but but I've apparently does. So
let's see. Let's see. Resubscribe. Use Prime sub. Let's go. I got it.
Hype train.
Easy hype train emotes. Here we go. Share that month anniversary. Big pog. There we go.
Do you happen to have like a local build of the latest dev Gocnak that you could play?
No. I did not build. I haven't done that in a while.
What do you need? Can I just DM you the binaries?
No, it would be like everything that updated. So it's the whole it's so. But yeah. Okay. So
SL seems to have figured it out.
Okay.
It'll be a bit to have a fix, I assume.
Stirdupe.
I understand.
Was it one of the underlying? Okay, well, we'll cut a new release. Let's get this merged in and cut a new release. This will be really easy. It's just the source repo updating. I can actually do it right now. But it will take a solid like 15 to 20 minutes to actually push it.
And to get to Steam, I mean, it's build and Steam, right?
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's just in total. Because it takes, I think, like 15 to
more
build.
than 15, 20. Yeah, but then the Steam upload takes like half an hour because it's being run on a toaster. Or, what is it? Wasabi.
Oh, wait, no, it sped up. It sped up last time, so we're good there. Shouts to SL. SL's amazing. They aren't usually on these, like, these streams or anything, but they do a lot of great work for the engine.
SL is someone just, incredibly, just technically brilliant and just really very
happy
understanding of the source engine. Yeah. I mean, SL does this really funny thing where someone will suggest something that we should work on, and like SL disappears for like an hour and comes back with like just a git diff with just it. It's happened several times, like panorama stuff, where it's like, I could spend like hours agonizing over this trying to figure it out, and SL just like does it in like really just clean, straightforward code. Especially in an engine like Source 1, where it's just full of really dog shit old C++.
Yeah.
It's really great having devs with like a really very deep understanding of the language and of the source one.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll get into the game here. Let me boot it up. I think it's probably still on the old update.
Yeah, you might need to do a quick restart. I mean,
okay.
if
it's just oh yeah, no, the initial pop-up worked.
Yeah, you should
Okay.
Are you on?
Yeah, no,
if you're
I'm
on
good.
0915, you might be good to show it off. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, cool. All right, we'll go over to gameplay plus webcams. Let's go.
And don't forget about my please actually play Kong.
Yeah, we'll start off with some Kong. Don't worry.
Even I'm gonna play that.
But I can't wait to be getting the 010 stuff in and showing that off.
Yeah.
In some cases, we won't necessarily have the builds on Steam, but we can prep those and show them off on the Q&As. We can just, each build a release and show that. That would be really, really fun.
Yeah, and it's, I mean, like...
We can show some of the web progress off on, like, the Q&A at some point, some of that, like, new submission system when that's done.
Right, yeah, because it's, like, that's what... It's hard to show it off because it needs to be basically deployed or locally on my computer. Though we could do some, like, screen sharing stuff, but... Okay, I guess let's let's do the standard spiel for the game. This is Momentum Mod. Hopefully I won't crash I won't open the learn section, that'll crash me. But yeah, so Momentum Mod is a single player first game, but that doesn't mean that you can't play it online. There are multiplayer elements that we have on the game, and the way that we've designed the game around multiplayer, right, as opposed to making it be like the core thing that you have to do in order to play, means that you don't even need to play with anyone else at all. You can play it entirely by yourself on whatever map you want, whenever you want, like for however long you want, within reason. We're not going to accept like 10+ hour runs or whatever, but like you basically have freedom, or almost even paradox of choice, to where you can just kind of do what you want. One of the multiplayer layers that we currently have right now is hosted lobbies. So you go into the game and you can create your own lobby. You can set it public, friends only, invite only if you want. You can go up to like 250 players, and if you want to, right, like you can go crazy, create your own lobby. And as people kind of join, what's nice is that this is a layer on top of the game. It is not required to play in a lobby unless you want to see other players, right? This is just the first layer. So technically, the next layer that we have after this is going to be roaming lobbies. So this is when you play on like a map, like any map in general, what it'll look for is a special type of lobby that only exists for that map. So if you like, it's kind of like a dedicated server situation where it's like, oh yeah, like people are playing on this map and like go and hang out. But the moment that you change map or whatever, right, you leave that lobby. It'll be opt out. Like you will be opted in by default, but you can opt out of it. And yeah, it's just kind of like another layer of multiplayer and like kind of more of like a journey-esque system, right? Where it's just you're playing and you could pop, some people could pop into the same map with you and play with you. And I think that'll be pretty cool because that way, you can enjoy, hanging out with people if you want to and just kind of meet fresh faces and stuff like that. So yeah,
we'll have faces.
Yes,
we'll get the player model hooked up pretty soon.
Yeah, we're gonna get a player model and that you can customize fully with like a bunch of attachments and like just all of the really cool cosmetics that we have planned. Yeah, it'll be really fun.
Something we've not spoken about before. We've actually had some really, really good progress on art stuff and a lot.
Yes. Yes.
But yeah, got a shout.
No, yeah, the art team's been ramping back up and getting some awesome progress towards the player model and animations. I cannot wait to show that off. It's really huge to actually have like an actual player model that reacts to things like a surf ramp and rocket jumping and stuff, right? Like it's going to be amazing. So they're doing amazing work. And once we get that in there, hopefully I'll be able to just really do it justice and show it off. But yeah, I mean, we have other tabs coming soon, like your player and like, yeah, your player tab, your profile tab, all of your rank, right? Stuff like that.
Yeah.
challenges, leaderboards, stuff like that. You can see like who's on the
Can't wait
team.
to finally hook that up.
You can see that the current versions. Oh no, it is 0914 for me. It downgraded. I guess that just happens instantly or something. Anyway, but yeah, we're on 096 actually. Just kidding. This tab's gonna be removed, and credits needs to be updated. But anyway. Yeah, so with that, right, with that freedom, right, comes the map selector. You can choose basically any game mode that you want. We're going to start off with Conk because happy redeemed, please actually play Conk. So we're going to actually play some Conk. We'll do, what map should I do? That's ooh, Conk Ninja, let's go. Speed 2 could be pretty good.
Honestly, it wouldn't, the Speed 2 still has that bug on it.
Yeah, it still has that bug, yeah.
I kind of feel like a bit of Speed 1, actually. I'm not playing it more.
Yeah, it's been a bit. So we're going to Speed 1.
Have any new Conk maps recently, have we?
Yeah, no, it's, yeah.
I mean, no, we had myth stuff, right? Generally, like, because Kong's in a pretty good spot, like, we're not gonna, like, Zyke used to be porting, like, millions, and
yeah.
I don't think he's really doing that much anymore, so, like, we don't really need to add those yet. Those really kind of can wait till 010.
Yeah.
But...
Why can't I move in the spawn? Jesus.
You gotta like no clip out of it. But yeah, so this is a mode called Conk. This is from Team Fortress Classic. The scout and medic had a grenade called a concussion grenade, so shortened down to Conk. And the mechanics behind it is the further away from the grenade you are, the more it pushes you. So if I stand like right on it and like jump, you know, it does a little bit of a boost, but if I stand kind of like a little bit of a radius away, it'll boost me all the way around, you know, in this corner.
Which is such a weird mechanic.
It is so bizarre, but it's so lovely once you get it.
It's also the fact that Conk has, like, Team Fortress Classic movement, this, like, gold source sort of super floaty sort of, I don't know, it's just something, there's something very satisfying about it.
Yeah. But yeah, it's honestly, like, surprisingly addicting. Oh, damn it.
Check out those grenade sounds that Monolith did.
Yeah, the beeps are really nice.
Beeps, yeah, these are...
Yeah, I really like how simple the sounds and the models are, but I think they work really well. I am looking forward to the custom Conk models we had eventually, like the Half-Life bug bait and stuff.
Yeah. It's very like weird to do at first, but once you get it, it is very addicting. And you can right click. This is something we added. You can right click to cancel your conk. So if you throw any, you can right click to get rid of it. If you're holding one, you can right click to reset. It's just a nice little quality of life thing. Whoops.
You guys are in a lobby, right?
Yep.
Interesting.
They're very sharp.
It might be
other people, fishy and Matan. You can't see it. I don't know why.
Yeah, that's a known bug. It's for some reason, like if you change, I think like the privacy type, it doesn't like it doesn't actually change or something, and it uses the old one. So let me try once I get onto this platform. Actually, let me just do it now. Let me just try editing the friends only update, edit, public. So try now. It might work now.
Is that actually why conks are the way they are, QR? I always assumed they just made a mistake. Conks are like that even in the original, like, Team Fortress 2.9 Quake mod code.
Ah, shit.
But it must have been something they did really early on.
I wonder if like Robin Walker or whoever the original TFC like team like ever tries.
Yeah, I would love to. I would be interested. Yeah, I feel like Conk would be the most interesting for them, right? I mean,
yeah, I need to throw the Conk. I'm not throwing the Conk.
We did rocket jump and sticky jump.
There we go.
You know, pretty much one-to-one with stuff they did. But
yeah.
Conk's a bit of a weird one. Robert Walker and John Cook hated what TFC became, really. Huh.
Yeah.
What did they intend? TFCs. I've always felt TFCs are really weird game aesthetically speaking.
Yeah.
At least it's like
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just kind of odd.
It's I enjoy it though. I enjoy it for its quirks, you know.
More tactical game. I can see that, I guess, with like the Team Fortress 2 Brotherhood of Arms stuff.
I've always thought that the worst thing about TF2 is like when it does try to be kind of tactical and like, oh yeah, you're supposed to play NG and like, which is just an abysmal game. But TF2 for like sixes is exceptional. You know?
Yeah.
Please don't say NG when we're playing Momentum mod, because I wanna have Sentry jumping.
Never gonna happen.
Century jump, classic.
You know, KJR, I actually did have an implementation of the dizzy effect. I still love. I can't remember how I figured this out or where I saw it, but if you ever play Quake 1, in between each level in Quake 1, there's a little intermission where it shows like the number of monsters and stuff you've killed.
Oh, and it does that fade.
It'll take your player camera to some random position in the map with the mapper puts, and it'll do this little shake in the background. If you take the intermission shake and you turn it up by like 20, that's the conk dizzy effect.
Oh my god, that's hilarious. They just recycled it. That's so funny.
Yeah. So I looked at the Quake intermission code and just like put it into Momentum mod, and it looked almost identical. And I mean, it makes sense because at the time it was just a Quake mod, you know. So and Quake doesn't have super. You can't do that much with it. So they would have just taken this intermission effect, and there's literally CVARs that control it on the client side, and they would have just had the server like sending commands to the client to change those CVARs to be larger than what they normally are.
Yeah. Also, I've played this map a lot, by the way. For those of you watching, being like, "What the fuck?" I've played this map a little bit, and it's very fun. I'm a very big fan of
I did all the brushwork on this map.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I shouldn't be in the credits, and when we resubmit it, I don't need to be.
Yeah,
like,
you'll be just like a co-author.
The old textures. I wanted to I guess co-author works. Yeah, we need to redo the credits, don't we?
Damn it. No. Shit.
Go, can you stop for a second? Like,
Stop what?
can you like stop for a second?
Yeah, what's up?
Just I wanna show people that we can play like conk map, the different game modes. Like I have Rocket Jumper right now. Okay.
Yeah. So that's a really good point. That's a really good point. Thank you for bringing that up. The way that the lobbies work are that didn't make it. The way that the lobbies work is it's individually like networked. You don't synchronize your game state with anyone else. So that means you can play on whatever like mode you want on whatever map as well. And as long as you're on the same like kind of map, right, the same version of map, you can share like the network packets that you like send. So for example, right, Happy's playing Rocket Jump on this map while I play Conk, and it doesn't affect me at all. The entire point, right, with our networking is just that we just network it as soon as we like can, and we don't synchronize it, and with that, right, comes no ping. It's like quote unquote zero ping gameplay or zero ping like multiplayer, in the sense that it feels like zero ping still because we don't network the game at all.
Player. Like
we're still single player.
Like the server is on your machine, like in Momentum, right? In a traditional multiplayer game, you're running the client, and then the server is somewhere else. Well, you know, Source has its client-server distinction standard for game engines. With Momentum, client and server both run locally, and our multiplayer is just done is this separate thing on top. So we are genuinely a single-player game in the sense that like you run the server.
Yeah. And this approach of Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. I was just going to read a question from chat.
Oh yeah, go for it. Yeah, that's fine.
Oh, okay. So Sowbug asks, will Momentum mod maps be packed by default when you compile? Do you mean having assets packed or being compressed? Assets packed, it depends on the assets. One of the things that we want to do is we want to take all the most commonly used asset packs and just ship them with the game. So that way every map that uses them...
Once we have permission to, obviously.
Yeah, well, we've already gotten permission for quite a few of the most common ones you can get on Game Bananas.
Yeah, because those are already pretty freely licensed. We just have to credit, which we will, absolutely.
Yeah, and for other things, like, we don't want people packing, like, Counter-Strike textures into the maps, because technically we don't have the license to those.
Yeah.
As for whether maps will be, like, compressed by default, I don't know.
I think we'll set it that we'll require it in map submission. We'll say, like, yeah, compress your damn map.
Yeah, I don't know if, like, compile tools will automatically do it, though. I'm not really sure. We're also, like, changing compression stuff. I think we're removing BZ2 and replacing it with, like, LZMA or something like that.
Yes.
But BZ2 is I think it's deflate, right, for the BSP file, like, internally. Like, you compress,
Right, yeah,
I think the whole BSP, you defrag compress it. What servers will also do is they'll run the BSP file through BZ2 in what do they use the container? Normally it is just .bsp.bz2. It's not like it's not. So I don't know what the container format is.
I don't think there is a container format because it's
you don't need one because it's just a single file. Yeah, so you can just Yeah. What am I saying? Yeah.
And honestly, the BSP format itself is kind of a container based on the way it's set up with all the lumps. I heard someone describe it once that the Quake BSP is actually similar to Doom WADs, just more sort of fixed in what it can have, which is kind of interesting. It's true.
Huh.
I mean, a lump-based file system is, like, very straightforward, where you just have a header with your offset and sizes.
No! Why can I not do this one? Oh, I used to be able to do this like first try.
I struggle at that.
I'm fucking so close. Drop in the second one.
We have a tool that Bird works on called Plar.
Yes.
Be able to automatically do a lot of the stuff involving packing and replacing textures. I'm not sure the full list of features and stuff that it'll do, but it'll be a really cool, very useful tool for just generally manipulating the stuff in BSP.
Yeah, if you've used like NSPY and stuff before, it can do everything NSPY can do, or should eventually be able to do. It can also do pack file editing, which is what Bird's been working on most lately. And texture viewer, I think we have set up now. So
how the fuck did that work?
File, right?
I'm amazed at myself right now. Sorry.
Yeah, that sometimes happens. You just get
You're a god.
Yeah, I mean BSP is a tricky file format because they are most you can't open them in like Explorer or whatever, even though they are sort of lumps. They're just chunks of the file that split up, and some of it is like a genuine just a zip file, right? I forget, is a pack file always zipped, like deflate compressed, or is it? Anyway, the big part of it is just like a regular directory.
No, no, it's not. It's just a directory that's inside the BSP. You have to manually like BSP zip is going through and actually compressing the lumps. Okay. But it's like I think it's like it's like laid out like a zip file. But I might actually be wrong on that. Oh, that's not a good enough one.
But yeah, Lumper's really cool, and Bird's been doing amazing work on it. We've had other contributors as well. Jay Patcher, this guy he's an excellent C# programmer, as far as I can tell. Seems to really know stuff. Did some of the initial UI work. The initial BSP parsing I actually wrote, but sort of that comes from BSP source, which is a Java BSP decompiler. So a lot of that stuff is just
Yeah, I think there is a
let's go.
plugin that lets you do stuff with
SL maintains that.
Yeah. Fuck.
BSP file format is very, very well understood. A lot of Lumper is just aimed to be, because a lot of map review does need to be somewhat manual. We decided to, rather than do it in some sort of web interface and try to do that with some complex like server client stuff with Angular and whatnot, like we decided to, map reviewers will download the BSP but be able to look at it in Lumper, which will be, it has, it can load stripper configs and apply stripper configs and modify entities based on that.
Yes.
It's really neat, and you can do all these, you can serialize tasks in there. So common things that you always want to do, such as like compressing the whole thing, you can just make as a task. Lump is something we should actually show off at some point as a Q&A stream. Maybe once the pack file stuff's in.
I mean, we could even
really cool.
show what submitting map looks like and like all the way through the process.
Yeah, we absolutely should. Yeah. But yeah, lump work has been fantastic. It's been so great seeing Blur get the amount done that he has. But yeah, if anyone wants to contribute to that, it's completely open source. It's C# based using Avalonia for its UI. So we wanted something very cross-platform. Avalonia is fucking really nice. And yeah, happy to take contributions there if anyone.
Is there a rocket jump from Soldier in Team Fortress? Yes. Sticky jump as well from the demo class.
We have 1-to-1 Soldier demo movement. We could show off a bit of that. We don't play much jumping.
I actually do play rocket jumping right now if you want to spectate.
Oh, that's true, yeah. Avi's currently, Nick's playing Conk, but because of our networking, like we were talking about before, other people can be in the same map in a different game mode.
I've been playing defrag with quad rockets.
I forgot that's in.
I will get this. It's been a bit. This is what I mean by losing my Conk chops. I can't fucking get it first try anymore.
Chop is a future mode we'll be adding. We have A hop and B hop. We'll be doing chop in the future.
Chop.
Which is the dog from GTA 5.
GTA 5. Dog movement.
We're also going to be looking at replacing B hop with sandwich jumping so we can get TF2 representation.
Karate jumping as well.
Karate jumping.
Detonator jumping.
I just remember messing around in like TF2 servers when I was in my teens, like trying to convince people that karate jumping was a thing.
My favorite thing is to go on Jump Academy and then have like the go-to menu set up to take me to the next jump, and then time it so that I activate the teleport as soon as like the karate hits the ground.
Yeah. Yeah, great.
I will get it. It's actually not that hard of a jump. I'm just getting the timing wrong, which
really is a really interesting question.
Yeah.
Do you plan on reworking dev texture maps by doing some texturing and detailing? The reason this map is dev textured, basically I used to do more art side stuff on Momentum. You know, about sort of, I think this map I ported about, I want to say 2 years ago. I think I did it in March 2021. And the goal there was I basically wanted an existing, quite well-known map that I could touch up and redo the styling for. I thought this would be a good one. Around the time we just added Conk. So actually, all these like brushes are actually manually aligned because I wanted it all nice. When I just left it with dev textures, I was planning on doing a bunch of really fancy custom PBR texture and stuff. I was like getting really into Substance Designer at the time, and then completely lost interest. I have not actually used Substance Designer in several years. I don't pay for it anymore, thank God. Fuck Adobe. So the reason this is dev texture is because and not the original TFC textures, was because I wanted to eventually replace these with like really fancy texturing and stuff. But yeah, never did it.
I don't think we're gonna retouch dev texture maps in general, but we probably are. We're not gonna like let people do really low effort dev texture maps. Like, I think it's still gonna be okay, but it has to like still look good.
Yeah.
Effort put into
doing just quite sort of flat stuff can work really well, can look excellent, especially
just needs depth perception. That's the only thing.
Something
for
doing
flat.
Exactly, yeah. But what I find, I mean, maybe we should show it as the Ninja's new map. The news in chat, I think, yeah.
The new defrag.
Flip. That is not dev textures, but kind of similar to dev textures, but looks fantastic. Like, it's very simple texturing, but looks really, really polished, which I really like. So, yeah, I do find that dev textures, like, having the, like, reflectivity 40 everywhere is a bit weird, but, like, just, like, in an engine like Source, and for game modes where you're moving really fast a lot of the time, just having quite flat textures with grids on works really, really well, and you can get to look good. So my suggestion for people that are doing more dev texture stuff, if I may be so bold, would be to do kind of more like Ninja stuff. Yeah, use sort of grid style stuff. Don't necessarily use dev textures, but then just focus on really nice lighting and like good contrast between different surfaces.
Yeah, but if you do try to submit like a full bright, completely orange dev texture map, I think
yeah. I do that. Yeah. Yeah, we think we have some of the like Nairo custom dev textures ship with Momentum already.
Yeah, a very popular pack. That's the thing too, is that we have the ability to ship things with the game that we have permission to. And so what we really want to do is just rip out all of these textures from these maps, because that saves a ton of bandwidth and download size, you know. So
not that we necessarily have to get too much if we use R2, but still, storage as well.
But I mean, it adds up, so we definitely will. Yeah,
Free,
there we go.
free.
Easy clap. Easy clap. There we go.
You didn't get the graph. You've not played in.
I thought I had a PB, but maybe it's just not local right now because it uses your local.
Yeah, that will be hooked up. In the future, we will have we'll download your PB replay.
Yeah.
You don't have it, so you'll be able to compare.
Yeah, I only have that, but
we're not going to be relying on Steam Cloud. I refuse to.
Yeah, I have an
Steam
11-minute one.
No.
No, we'll use Steam Cloud for stuff, but you can see here replays don't have.
But I don't want to rely on it. You know,
yeah.
We still want the API to be able to send you back your PB.
But there you go. There's your conch happy. Hopefully that made you happy.
That was good. Yeah.
Play some defrag.
Ninja did make a really good point in chat. Kickflip also has a duck, so we have to show it off.
As in
okay.
the movement or the animal?
Yeah.
Kind of a weird.
Do you mean A or B? Yes.
Wait, is this plasma? Yeah, okay. What? Okay, hold on.
Oh, Jesus. That noise. Oh
yeah, it's pretty good, isn't it?
How
do you? Okay, that's how you do it. Okay, you have to.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Remember when I tried to make a new one and I overrided it in my game on my side? So when you was shooting, it was just like a spam in my ears with my creation. It's
okay. Yeah. Yep, we have a bit of a bug right now with spectating. We're gonna fix that this weekend.
Not gonna lie, plasma looks goddamn hot.
Right? The weapon models are just so fucking good. I am not advanced enough to be able to use weapons yet, but I'll just show off like kind of my skills with a little bit of defrag that I can do. Okay, well, I love it when my game farts. You know, sometimes you just need it. You need a little bit of nitro boost, you know? But yeah. This is a Prime Site, by the way. This is a new version of kind of, well, not new version of CGAS. It effectively replaces CGAS. So the thing with defrag, right, and the reason why I'm like kind of bad at it is because I haven't done it a lot. You gain speed at very specific angles. I'm not doing this justice, by the way. There's a ton of defraggers in chat that could probably explain it better. But the entire like point of like the blue here is like, as long as you look there and are holding kind of like a strafe like towards it, you will gain speed, right? So you can see my speedometer, I'm gaining speed as I'm looking in the blue. But if I look anywhere else, like here, right, I'm not really gaining any speed. But yeah, like that's where your the majority of your speed gain is going to be coming from. Should I be shooting down? I don't. Oh, okay. And so what we did is we actually defaulted to Prime Site just because it kind of cannibalizes CGAS. Ooh, can I synchronize my rockets here?
To be a little more specific.
Fuck.
What Prime Site does. Prime Site is actually, credit where credit's due. The idea of this HUD actually came from a defrag player, I believe named Palm, and they created it in Quake 3 defrag as something called Excel HUD. And that's what Peen based Prime Site off of. So it was something made by a Quake 3 defrag player before we did it. It sort of combines this area of acceleration zone with something else that defrag does called velocity snapping, where your velocity is rounded every tick, and you can kind of manipulate that to get it to round up, and you go faster.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of a HUD that combines the two in a more accessible way, and makes it easier to basically strafe better. Before Excel HUD and Prime Site, you kind of had to figure it out using two different HUDs overlapped on top of each other, which is possible, but it's harder to figure out and harder to
Shit, I missed the fucking. Yeah. I suck at defrag, but I'm gonna get better at it over time.
You just said you should watch the replay. I think the world record on this map is held by Zas right now.
Oh
Zas
man,
is insane, like insanely good.
Reunion, yeah. Okay, let's see. I mean, we're not gonna see the weapons. That's actually a current problem with the what the fuck? Right into the slick. Oh damn, the fucking flicks. Oh. No, I can feel my wrists exploding. No, this is amazing. Oh, the skip there. Clean. Clean lines. Clean lines. You can see a little bit of defrag, or sorry, the prime HUD though. Wow. Yeah, he's just gaining speed from nowhere because we don't currently have weapons showing in holy shit. All right, well he's they're a little bit better. You know, this, you know. Oh wait, does clicking go through? Okay, that was weird. Clicking to see the HUD rifling through players. But yeah, also if you noticed, you can basically watch runs during your run if you want.
You can even make save pauses from them.
Yeah, save states in the middle of your run if you want to come back and practice if you're, you know, doing a good line or something. But yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Momentum is route stealing deluxe.
Yes, yes. And, you know, like, realistically, right, we can do things around events to make, like, routes be hidden during an event. But when it comes to, like, a new map or something, we already have a system in place that we're going to basically just, like, not count runs until, like, you know, the dust settles, so to speak. So as people are kind of getting in and setting their times, we're not going to really be running, like, calculations or anything on it yet. We'll probably still do like rank or something, or not rank, sorry, cosmetic, which I guess I can talk about. There's going to be two systems, rank and cosmetic, like points basically, right? So rank is just how good you are at the game. It's based on your time set on ranked tracks in the game. And so, right, like 100%ing momentum for ranked, you know, rank point enthusiasts is basically getting a time on every ranked track. But then there's also completionism, which is like playing everything momentum has to offer that gives you cosmetic points. So the other system, right, is literally just playing the game. So like when you set PBs, when you complete a map, when you win races, when you do challenges, when you know, like all of the, like, it fills the gap, right? Because like you only get rank points from ranked tracks and beating your PB when you set a PB, right? Because if you don't set a PB, you're not setting a new rank, you're not getting any points for that. So these two systems, right, coexist for the reason that we want people to be able to like enjoy momentum at their own pace, right? We want people to be able to pick up the game and kind of just casually grind it if they want to, get more cosmetic, unlock more cosmetic stuff. That's why we'll call it cosmetic XP. But that's what's up here in this corner, by the way, is the XP and level, right? That's just how much you've played momentum, because you've beaten a ton of maps. You know, you've probably done a lot of challenges and stuff. It's really just a cosmetic thing that shows how much you played the game. But then rank points is like how good you are, right? And your overall rank, taking all of the rank points that you have for a specific submode, is how good you are at that submode, right? And so if you only care about defrag, right, or I guess CPM or whatever, defrag points, you can filter for that, and like, yeah, like that's your CPM. Like we'll even probably have a little trophy system on top of that, like how servers have like beginner, advanced, skilled, etc. Those little nameplate things, we'll have those as well, for, you know, when you have specific rank points like brackets. So we'll make those too. So yeah, so when it comes to like route stealing and stuff, we want people to be able to see your replays. We can't really hide your replays for some arbitrary reason. So if you get a run, if you want to do a run that you don't want anyone else in the world to see, you better play offline, like literally unplug your internet. Or I guess, I mean, I don't know if we'll have like an option to not connect to our server, but like, you know what I mean? You basically don't connect to our server. Slick is very fun. This is very fun to just...
if you're submitting a run to leaderboard, you need to submit a replay, which is publicly visible. I mean, we were talking about potentially having, during that like first week period of a map being added, not showing the replays there potentially.
Yeah.
And having a like week period of like, but then do we then show a separate leaderboard for like just that period so people get the status of like having the best runs then? I don't know. It seems really hard to add and kind of awkward.
Yeah.
I don't think that's. I don't think it needs to be that complicated. It just needs to satisfy that idea of, competing completely on your own.
Yeah.
Without being able to reference what other people have done. Coming up with something entirely by yourself, because that is a different skill than just maximizing someone else's route. I agree that we should have open leaderboards and stuff, because in the long run we do want everything to be open. But there is value, I think, in at least in the short term, in having that kind of blind competition where you just have to figure it out on your own skill entirely.
Yeah.
Also, I see people in chat saying they're excited for ammo. We've had ammo in the game for months. We even have documentation on ammo, which took a little longer. Sorry.
It's just we don't have maps that necessarily limit ammo.
Does that work for outside of defrag or?
Yep. It should work for rocket jump, sticky jump, and conk. I didn't bother adding ammo to like the sniper rifle or whatever, because I think that's probably.
Oh, come on, Lumia! Make an effort.
But yeah, we do have limited ammo, and the way it's implemented is pretty fair, pretty easy to convey too.
Yeah, I don't know, the limited time closed leaderboard thing. I a lot of the concern for me is just UI. Like, how do we show that and like make that meaningful in any way to get that like limited time best thing? I mean, I do like the idea of like having like a sort of constant like defrag World Cup sort of thing at like any new map like adds that initial period, so every time a new map gets added, people can just grind that map and get the grind of time, and that replay can be closed. And of course we can still do like anti-cheat on the replay, right? Like you'll still submit the replay, we just won't serve it to other people.
Yeah, exactly. We just store it privately.
And I really kind of do like the idea in some ways. It's kind of also, it's just like,
it's a very limited thing, and it's like it makes sense, but if it complicates things and makes our code for the website ugly as fuck, I'm a little worried.
If we can do if
it's gonna cost more because we have to use a different type of bucket or whatever, right? Like I don't know, it's just dumb. And then we do a bunch of things.
We can hash the files if we need to. Though then again, it does mean a little more storage. So no, we'll probably do that anyway. Like each replay file would be.
And then a bunch of move calls, because then we'd move it to the proper bucket. But I don't know. It's like
it does sound like to me we want to do something like this for competitions, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So if we have it for competitions,
but that's that might be a different way to launch the map compared to an actual map launch, right? Of like, we just dropped 4 defrag maps or something. But that's the thing, is like if we just build it into like the first like 3 days or whatever, we don't really like, we just kind of process runs as they come in. We could kind of basically count that as like a bit of protection. That way it's like you can get your runs, but you have to do it within the 3 days. We're never going to be like, months after the map dropped, we're hiding replays for some arbitrary.
No, I think what you could do is you could have a run like tag system.
Damn, I'm sucking at jumping. Why don't we have auto jump? No, I'm just kidding. Start that.
I'm trying to talk about like technical stuff, and Nick is just having a tantrum. So you could give some specific tag to the runs done in like that first 3 day to a week period, whatever. I think a week probably makes. I don't know. And have filtration on the leaderboard just for that. So if you wanted to only see the runs that were submitted in that time period, you could, and you could see who's best in that time period potentially. That could maybe work. And so that like even after that week time period. Like, this is the way, like, I'm just trying to think how you make this meaningful without, like, as soon as the time period expires, then you make the runs public and, like, new runs public, and presumably we do then let people see the replays of the original runs.
Yeah.
Seems to make sense. How you still make getting, like, rank 1 in that first week, or whatever time period, meaningful? And so I think you would want to still be able to show that on the leaderboard after that time period expires. So maybe a tag system like that works and could be quite simple to implement. Yeah, it's worth keeping in mind, actually thinking about more.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting for events though, because we will support it for events.
Yeah.
But yeah, god damn it.
Right,
I'm gonna play a mode I can actually play.
I was just gonna say, whenever you're using weapons and defrag against a wall, you almost always want to like look behind you.
Yeah.
Forward. Don't like lead your shots because the defrag weapons are kind of like hit scan at close range.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Is there any 107 tick surf mode? What?
Yeah. I don't know.
Right. It's not a common.
I don't even think that. Yeah. 108. No, I don't know.
I mean, don't you guys know it's really important to have that 9.3458, and that's millisecond frame time.
I've never heard of a 107 tick server. That's crazy.
We talked about surf tick rates a little bit later. We may do 100 tick as a sub mode in the future, but not for now. The surf, I mean, 66 tick is what maps are made for. Like, and come on, play 66 tick.
I have 2 things to say. The first one, Ninja, I really like the reflection on those yellow.
It looks good, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, reflection is just sick. Good job on that. And the second things to say, well, to ask actually. I mean, it's kind of obvious, but it's just, for my curiosity. Nick, could you say that Momentum, in a way, it's like live service? Just in a way, because, like...
No, it is. It would be. It literally will be, because it will be getting constant updates. That's what kind of determines, right? With a live service versus like one and done release, like everyone has everything. Because if you think about it, right, that'd be gigabytes of maps that you'd be downloading, which would be really cool for us to do that.
Oh,
but then
I think of live service more as something that has a separate web server.
That too. Yeah, that too. That could be a big part of it too, if it relies on a separate web service, which again is fully open source. You can change the URL endpoint.
Please, I want more contributions.
Please help out, but also you can, like, if we were to disappear, but you still have the code base, you could still play Momentum. And we really want to make sure that the maps are pretty publicly accessible as much as possible, just so that like we cache everything locally. We don't stream really much, other than if we do, it's to cache locally. Yeah. So I'm gonna play some Sticky Jump. I haven't played some Sticky Jump in a while. Get some Sticky Ballers, and we can talk a little bit about. This will be the last like 10 minutes. We can talk a little bit about Rio's other work of.
Well, I want to take this out of context. We are going to remove physics from Momentum.
Yes, it's gonna go away forever.
No, but we sort of are. I mean, you explain this, you know it better, but...
So there are 2 physics systems inside of Momentum currently. Sticky bombs are the only thing in all of Momentum that uses something called V-physics, which is based on Havoc. There is a replacement that was made by Joshua Ashton called Jolt, which is pretty interesting, but at the same time, for our kind of game... No, it's Jolt V-physics, but yeah, Volt. Volt is
based on Jolt. Volt is the source version.
Yeah, I was gonna say Jolt is like a third-party physics library. Just hook it up to source.
Yeah.
Jolt's
he didn't create Jolt.
Yeah.
I think. Pretty sure.
No, I don't think so. No. Jolt's a really fast deterministic physics library. It's quite interesting. In a lot of game engines in the early 2000s, you have these dependencies on these really big systems like Havoc, which are these massive, like, crazy proprietary shit, which is now a bit more easy to use and less crazy licensing, I think, since Microsoft bought it. But, like, Havoc was, like, the shit. And, like, loads of the big features in Half-Life 2 and stuff exist because of Havoc, right? And,
sort of.
Like, but nowadays, I mean, you have Jolt, which is open source and is a really fast physics library, right? Like, and it does all these. I mean, it's only
Havoc is fast too. I mean, that's why Valve chose to do it with.
Oh no! Jolt can do way more. Jolt can really do like crazy numbers of interactions.
There's some books that I've seen where they hooked it up to Gmod and like spawned like 2,000 ragdolls, and with IVP or Havoc or whatever you want to call it, it runs at like 10 FPS, and then with Jolt it's perfectly fine at 60. I mean, we're not gonna use Jolt for sticky bombs anyway, but spoiler.
It's a nice
Yeah.
situation to be in, though, where you have such a good open source physics library that you can implement in an engine like source. I love defrag, just followed from it.
Owl's alter camera.
But yeah, so let's continue. So why is vphysics bad, and why is it?
Our main problem with vphysics is that it's non-deterministic, which means that if we were to replay the exact same inputs with the same like world condition, there is a chance that your sticky bomb doesn't go exactly where you shot it in your run. That's very bad for us because we're trying to validate the runs that you're submitting by, like playing back, right? Making sure it's good. So we've contemplated, do we switch over to Jolt, right? vphysics, which is deterministic and way more performant, but would technically have a negative side effect on, wait, where do they, is that sticky? Okay, this is all rollers. This might actually be pretty hard.
This is just a like catch or whatever.
Oh, that's right. Fuck. Okay. I see what I'm doing wrong. I have to do like this. Oh, okay.
What's the downside of switching to Jolt?
So Jolt might change our physics because, or it might change sticky bombs to be different, and that's also not favorable. But also, it's just stickies that we need, vphysics or physics, this like level of physics at all. The rest of the game uses Q physics because you're a bounding box as a player, right? And so as a bounding box, right, it's pretty consistent, and the like functions that you can use aren't like archaic, right? Like collision functions that the specific libraries used. Like Havoc is used more for like vehicles, right, in Half-Life 2, and like ragdolls, obviously, things like rope physics.
Hard body props, like
physics props. Right, and so
we don't have those, right? Like we don't want those, or don't put like explosive or like rolling barrels and stuff in your maps.
Yeah. And so we lock that down anyway because those are usually just shit gameplay elements that you don't want to like rely on for your map. So what it turned into now is that we only rely on vphysics just for sticky bombs. And what Rio is looking into is, do we even need vphysics for sticky bombs? Could we technically make them a consistent sphere that, it might have a little bit of randomness so that rollers aren't extremely trivial, but could we have it be consistent enough to where we don't even need like this arbitrary physics library? It is also used, Ninja brought this up in chat, it is also used for rotating brushes. Also, do I not jump? What am I doing wrong here? Do I just walk off? Or
it's used for rotating brushes for some things, but not for player collisions.
Yeah, like player collisions I don't think uses it, but like props in the map might be upset.
Yeah, we don't need vphysics or physics IDP or whatever. We don't need that for moving brushes with player interactions.
I don't think I can do the catch here. I'm gonna just baby bitch my way down here. Sorry.
It's also just really nice to get rid of shit like this.
Yes, of like really old archaic German code that like costs a ton of money, but also is just not used anymore by our game.
Primarily because it's German.
Yes. No, it's just funny. It's like there's the documentation's in German, but like, or there's like comments in German. It's funny.
I think to sort of clarify, basically what Rio is looking at doing is not using the physics simulation part of physics. Still using the collision detection. Because which is consistent. What the source engine has built in that it inherits from Quake is the ability to trace bounding boxes against each other. And Valve has also added some stuff to it to allow it to work with displacements. But otherwise, collision-wise, entities can really only be either brushes that can't interact with other brushes, or bounding boxes.
Yeah.
So we have these other parts in the engine. We have IDP, which is like a physics simulation library that handles like, actual collision resolution between things, when things bounce or have air friction or rotate or exert forces on each other. And then there's other stuff that I think Valve implemented themselves, I guess. I don't really know. I haven't looked at the code personally that much, so I'm not breaking NDA here. But it's like collision detection for props and other meshes.
Yeah.
So what Rio's been working on is reusing the collision detection stuff, which is reliable and works pretty well in the and then implementing the actual physics simulation manually and not rely on IDP. So the hope is that stickies will act more or less the same, or even more consistent, but still have like spherical collision. And we won't have to rely on the non-deterministic physics simulation stuff.
Yeah, at all, which is amazing for us, because then, yeah, it just becomes really easy to validate runs. Because right now it's like it's possible, but there's a chance that it won't match, and that's not good for us.
I just do want to obviously add that, like, of course, any change to like sticky bomb physics we are doing very carefully, and we're not going to just completely change sticky jump. On our dev team, I mean, we've got Bray, who's a very, very good sticky jumper, and I think she's been talking to Rio a bit about it. And yeah, it's not something we're just like casually doing. We do know how fundamental that is.
Hex has given a lot of feedback as well.
Yes, yeah.
Who else? But I think there's ways better people.
I mean, we've got some like really good sticky jump. I mean, Bray, Hex, and False are all really. I mean, False is really good, right? I think False is the best out of them. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Hex is better. I know False is better than Bray. I think. Whatever. They're all like absurdly good. Watching them play is like ridiculous.
Yeah.
One of the things I think we are talking about with stickies specifically is removing the sort of RNG, or at least pseudo RNG, when they roll around. Because when they roll around, they kind of meander.
Yeah.
It's because the simulation is actually like handling the like actual facets of the model kind of tumbling around and stuff.
Yeah, like air resistance and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, well, just for on the ground, it's because, you know, the sticky bomb collision mesh is not a perfect sphere. It's a faceted model. So we've been talking about, I think Rio's version right now is more consistent. Like sticky bombs will just roll in a particular direction.
What am I supposed to go to? Fuck. Sorry.
You know, that could potentially mean, like, there is some stuff that's designed with the expectation that you shoot sticky bombs on it and they just go everywhere. So, you know, the momentum mod, it might actually be more consistent and might not be as difficult as intended. But
do I have to air pogo this?
Nick, I just want to point out, I was streaming playing this a bit ago, and this reminded me of a specific thing, and I literally booted up Half-Life 2 to like explain what it reminded me of. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The C17 like O's
window, yeah.
The window thing.
Oh.
Every time I see this stage, I think of the like garbage can like climbing.
Yeah, to get into the fucking pixel perfect window. Classic.
Like hilariously sized window, but it's genuinely like exactly the player model or something.
Speaking of VV physics, is that the reason why Iron Bomber hitbox was broken in TF2 back in the days?
I think so.
Yeah, it was probably. I think the thing with that is that it was using the wrong collision mesh.
Yeah.
That was it. Yeah.
Yeah, because pills in TF2 are also physics objects, but obviously we don't have pills.
Oh, what? Oh, that's. Is that a rendering bug? What the fuck?
It's just alpha test based shit or something.
What the hell? Okay. Alright, shout out to shooters.
They fixed that Iron Bomber bug? Did they actually give it the right collision model?
I think it did in the end, right?
Yeah.
I think so,
They fixed it.
Probably Josh.
Okay, I can't use
It was
that.
using, I think, the collision model of the loose cannon, which is a much bigger
Really?
I think that's what it was, yeah.
Actually,
it was way easier to hit stuff with it.
That's hilarious.
Actually, I think even the bomb from the whatever that gun called, Jesus, the bomb, from loose cannon was even smaller. I think that just was like Gearbox. Just was big than everything, pretty much.
No. Once you get off the on top of the stickies, you basically are fucked.
Is it broken though, resistance?
Yeah, how are other pills broken?
I mean, Iron Bomber is kind of broken just because it doesn't have a rollout. It doesn't bounce a lot. It's kind of is a win anyway, but
luckily it's not something we have to worry about unless we ever have grenade jump. I don't think so.
Well, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do another 11 of these. I'm not that good at sticky jump, but I will absolutely get better. I'm making the game to play all of these modes. That's why I'm involved, at least, you know. I think it'll be a fun time post 1.0 because I'll be like playing the game a ton. Kind of set some hop world records, you know. But
the main thing, like, Momentum just has that much progression. Not really maps and nothing matters.
Yeah.
So, like, when there is progression, I'm gonna play the shit out of it.
Easy. Let's go. What the fuck is this? Okay. Wait, what? Do I have to catch? What?
I think because of the momentum, I kinda need to lure myself to jump in TF2 because I was playing pop last time and I just wasn't able to lucky jump for some reason. It just felt different, you know. Because
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Momentum, it's so smooth, I guess. It's just,
This is a solid freeze on. What the fuck? Okay, that was a roller.
Yeah, and so hopefully by the time we get to launch, we'll have actual automated testing. I think we have a little bit right now, but
yeah,
we'll get a lot more. I mean, I don't think Valve does any kind of, or I don't think they ever did do any kind of automated source engine testing, of course. So
yeah,
we're gonna have to build up from scratch. But
we have a system already in place. We just don't have the CI pipeline in place yet. So we will definitely have automated testing. And it'd be really cool to get that in the map submission pipeline too, of like, you know, like automatically booting the map, making sure it like loads and everything.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, you could yeah.
See if there's any like FPS drops. Is it like no clips around the map in each direction or some shit? We could figure out some tests.
More message queues. Hell yeah.
Yeah, I mean it'd be GitLab CI at that point or something. Like we'll figure it out. But
I thought you meant for like map submission or like non.
No, yeah, no, it'd be like a job that we run through like manual GitLab like CI or something, and it pulls it down. We just give it like the URL or something.
You mean for user submitted maps or?
Yeah. So like when like the admins just making sure that the map's all good. Like for when users submit it. But anyway, I think I'm gonna call it there. I'm getting delirious. I need more water. I'm not gonna be able to beat this map. I'm just not good. This is
Q&A stream.
Okay. After party. But no, it's it is our 3-hour mark. This is usually when we end it. So yeah. We'll call it there.
Who was it that asked for the stream key earlier? They can have it.
Oh yeah. This is punt the stream key around. Yeah, we'll get going there. But okay, cool. So yeah, we'll figure out somebody to raid. Thank you all so much for watching. These are always a treat to do. If you like momentum development, please feel free to follow the channel because Tom does some live development.
Yeah, I'll try a bit more. Some of it's really boring. That's
yeah,
I'm gonna be doing more game stuff as soon as well, which I can't stream. But
yeah,
if I'm doing more front end like styling stuff, I'll do a bit more of that. I mean, me and the Shraz has been doing some really cool work lately on the new front page, like momentummod.org. That site that currently is a bit shit. We are going to be remaking pretty soon, and maybe we can work on that together and stream that. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
And just like I'll just embarrass myself by being like surprisingly bad at CSS for someone that's used it for like a decade. But yeah.
Yeah. We'll go ahead and raid Sev. They're grinding out some Lego 2. It looks like. Cool. They're doing some BOP. Very nice. Raid message, as always, is please play, and then your favorite game mode in the whole world, and then a smile. You can, choose whatever game mode you want, but
or game or any
game, honestly. But yeah, give them a smile.
You're only allowed to say please play defrag. If you say anything else, I'm banning you from the game.
We're banning you.
If you say anything else, I'm defrag.
But anyway, yeah. So enjoy, and yeah, catch you all in the next month Q&A. Yeah, make sure you join our Discord if you haven't already. And yeah, take care, everyone. Thank you all so much for watching. But yeah, bye.